tryouts in partnerships with industry, so Merck Life Sciences, Meta, Google, we have Godavari Biorefinery. So many of these companies, they support us, they back us, and they also pick a lot of students who work with us on these programs. So this is how the space, the facilities we developed look like. So these are like laser cutting machines, 3D printing machines, milling machines. So we have most of these machines inside the centers that we have created, and co-working spaces. So all these 170 odd startups operate. So they are mixed. So some of the startups operate physically here, and some of them operate virtually, because we have some startups from different parts of the country. And 20% of the startups are jointly incubated. Like we have a startup called Roa Biotech, who is sitting in IIT Madras but is incubated here. So they use the facility there, and for business mentoring or say raising funds, they took our help and they raised their first round. Yes, this is the bioradial facility. So we have like all the basic biotech equipments and tools which is needed for a biotech startup to accelerate. And this is the facility near the Somaya Hospital in Sine. So all the healthcare companies, and we also have like autonomous driving vehicle companies here, because we have a huge space in Sine campus for testing vehicles. So we have EV startups, hybrid vehicles, hybrid bikes, and all-terrain vehicles. So they use this facility to test. Yeah. And we have one very interesting startup called Save Mom. So they work with tribal women, especially women who are pregnant. So the founder Senthil Kumar won the Mashilkar Award last year, and we had invested in their company when they were very early. So what they specifically do is they had created a Rudraksh Mala like form factor. There is a Fitbit like band wearable which tracks vitals of all of a lady when she's pregnant for all 9 months, and it gives it to Asha workers so that they can help them with their regular checks. They can help them with all their necessary activities which has to be done during their pregnancy. And there is a amount given by the government, I think around 6,000 rupees after the child is born. So initially that amount would never reach the pregnant ladies. There was a lot of gap in the process. So this startup is helping solve that particular problem. And we are currently working with the Tamil Nadu government to onboard the pregnant ladies from tribal areas, and many of these ladies would not travel with their husbands to hospitals to get proper care, and they have like significant amount of data which they have gathered, and they've also won the Maharashtra State Innovation Challenge. They have got a 15 lakh contract from the Maharashtra government to do this activity. So these founders are like based in Madurai. And what we do is when we have these community events, we call all these innovators, startups here, so that students, entrepreneurs can meet them and interact with them, and a lot of exchange happens. So if you have any questions, we would be happy to answer them, and these are our partners. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your time. So the idea of sharing about these entrepreneurs and these small snippets was to help you understand what technologies, what solutions people are building. How many of you here present here are working on any projects, or you want to start your own company? Please raise your hands. Awesome. Can you please speak about what project are you working on? Awesome.
So that failed, so now I'm thinking about, as you said, starting a community is a big thing and it's very valuable. So yeah, looking forward to learning more about it.
Awesome. Anyone working on fundamental technology? Like building some products? Okay, thank you. We'll catch up after the session. If you have any ideas, please reach out to me.
Thank you, Gaurang sir. I'm sure that students from business school and MBA colleges would be interested in entrepreneurship and startup. So now, as we have set the theme for this for today's event, that is entrepreneurship, I would like to introduce you all to the first panel, that is Women in Leadership, a Perspective. So I would like to call upon stage Ms. Atisha Keswani. She is the CEO of SPAN Institute of Education. Atisha Keswani ma'am is a mathematics enthusiast and a philanthropist, wherein she has helped over thousands of budding students to upscale their career. She has 10 plus years of mentoring experience to students of India and abroad. She is a certified career counselor from University of California. She has guided and mentored students at senior secondary schools as well, and that of graduation by giving them one-on-one counseling sessions of the same. She has also been awarded as Women Mentor of the Year by Women Leader Forum in Dubai. She has also been awarded as India's 100 Women Achievers Award by Galanter X News Frontline Media. Her company's name is Pan Impex, which is a star export house. They are the leading merchant exporters known for their commitment to quality and innovation. Their company's portfolio includes an extensive range of consumer favorites across various sectors, from food to personal care and household products. They specialize in supply, white labeling for export of FMCG products. With their extensive range of products, they strive to provide exceptional value and maintain long-term partnership with their clients. Also, in her company, action speaks louder than words, as she gives maximum employment to women, thus showcasing an example of women empowerment. According to Atisha ma'am, mentorship is not confined to specific gender, it knows no boundaries. So we welcome Atisha Keswani ma'am. Also, I would like to call upon stage the other panelists for the event. Aarti Chabria, Director of Pico Capital Limited. Sangeeta Marda Agarwal, co-founder of 33 and Third Consultants. Komal Lat, founder and chief everything officer of Toot Consult. And last but not the least, Raina Khatri Tandon, CEO, Right to Rise, and she's a 3-time TEDx speaker and an international author. Please welcome on stage the esteemed panelists. And we would like Atisha Keswani ma'am to take over the stage.
Good morning, everyone. Greetings to all the United Souls, the volunteers of G20. Greetings to all our panelists, Ms. Sangeeta ma'am, Dr. Raina ma'am, Aarti ma'am, and Komalat ma'am. A very good morning to all of you. My name is Atisha Keswani, your moderator of the wonderful panel discussion on the topic Women in Leadership, a Perspective. And I'm really grateful and delightful that you are giving your valuable time for this beautiful morning. It gives me immense pleasure in welcoming each one of you present out here. So without further delay, let's start this. I request everyone firstly to welcome all our panelists with a huge round of applause. I'll begin with first with Sangeeta ma'am. Sangeeta Marda Agarwal. She is a business storyteller and author of the book titled Lost in Istanbul. Please guys, give a round of applause, please. She runs a communication consultancy and has been in leadership roles in sales and marketing for over 25 years. She is a member of the Global Advisory Board of Lenien's Leadership Program. Also, she is the head of network at Lenien Mumbai since 2017. Please, guys. To grace the stage further, I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Raina ma'am. She is the CEO of Right to Rise, India's first ISO accredited origin into women and child rights, certifications, trainings, compliance, and audits. She has been 3 times TEDx speaker and is an international speaker, mentor, influencer. Guys, she receives a huge round of applause, please. has also launched her self-help book on We All Have Rights on 24th of June 2023 at Thailand, Bangkok, by House of Parliament Minister of Affairs. To add feather on the cap, she is also an honorary member of CII Young Indians Mumbai chapter. Next, we welcome Ms. Aarti Chhabria. She is the co-founder and CEO of Clap Global. She is a serial entrepreneur, an educationist, and a socially driven individual with a classical dancer's soul. She is the founder of 3 educational companies, City Sprouts, Club Sprouts, and Clap Global, and executive director at Pico Capital, family wealth management firm. She believes in identifying and solving problems by simple innovations and to build an egalitarian society. Guys, she deserves a huge round of applause. We also welcome Ms. Komal Lath. She is the founder and Chief Everything Officer at Youth Consult at an integrated communication agency. She has worked with an array of international brands, corporates, and celebrities. She has also been facilitated as one of the 100 youth influencers in Asia and 40 under 40 by E4M. To add on the feather, she has also been our past chairperson of YI Mumbai chapter. I feel blessed in welcoming all our dignitaries. Keeping time in hand, let's begin with the panel discussion. And our topic of the panel is Women in Leadership, a Perspective. My very first question goes to Sangeeta ma'am. Ma'am, please take on your mic. Ma'am, I'd like to know from you that what leadership actually means to you and how has your perspective on leadership evolved over the course of time?
Thank you, Atisha, and a very warm welcome to all the young people here in the auditorium. It's enlightening to see so many people with so many curious eyes sitting on a Saturday morning. So please give yourselves firstly a big round of applause. So it's an interesting question, Atisha. What does leadership mean to you? And I'm going to start with a little story. How many of you like listening to stories? All right, so this story is actually like a little backstory because you're talking about leadership, and it's reminding me of my days first back in school. I come from a place, a city, metamorphically lost city of Calcutta. It's called Kolkata now. Anybody has any roots or any connection to Kolkata here? Okay, I see a lot of faces, all right, a lot of hands. Great. So I was in this school in Kolkata and it was called Mahadevi Birla Girls High School. So anybody who was a prefect or a monitor, you know, was known as the Mahadevi with superpower. So leadership actually, initially when I was in school, meant strutting my badge around, whether it was a prefect badge or the school head girl's badge later, maybe micromanaging students in the assembly, organizing some events. When I went to college, this was St. Xavier's College, Kolkata, leadership meant winning a college council election and being around cool people. When I started working, of course, I realized that leadership is much, much more than that. Over the years, I can share that leadership actually is about empowering people. Leadership is making people perform to their best. I don't know how many of you watch, a conductor conducting an orchestra. The conductor doesn't really play any instrument, but he brings a bunch of musicians together and ensures that the best music or the best symphony is created. So that's what leadership is. Leadership is about being a very empathetic listener, and it's about actually leaving an impact in the room so that people perform to their best even when you're not there. I'd just like to conclude, Atisha, by sharing two of the people whose leadership has inspired me a lot. One of them, of course, is Indira Nooyi. I'm sure a lot of you are fans of Indira Nooyi. She was one of the first Indian women to be on the board of a Fortune 500 company. I'm very inspired by Sheryl Sandberg. Some of you may have read, Sheryl was the first person to be on the board of Google. She transformed Google and then she went to Meta. She was the first woman director at Meta. I remember from $270 million to $120 billion. That was Sheryl Sandberg's journey. But Sheryl Sandberg today is known because she has a foundation called Lean In, which supports women leaders. Some of you may have read the statistics that women contribute 50% of the world's population, but at executive leadership roles, women are only 23%. So leadership for me today means making another leader out of a woman. So that's what my answer is. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. As Sangeeta ma'am just said, that women contribute towards 50% of our whole population, and so we need to empower them to be a good leader. So my next question goes to Dr. Raina ma'am. Ma'am, research suggests, am I audible, everyone? Yeah. So Dr. Raina ma'am, research suggests that having diverse leadership teams improves the organizational performance. How can companies effectively promote and support the advancement of women into leadership positions?
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Yes, oh, lovely energy. Can we hear that once more? Good morning. Good morning. Okay, how many of you can hear more women voices? Come on, let's see woman power. Good morning. Good morning. Right. So women speak only when they are being told. That is the first aspect that you need to say. That makes them more intelligent. Yes?
Of course.
And now I give you the other shade of it. Men don't speak when women speak. Yes? So you would have heard a lot which is written on the Google, heard of a lot of quotes. But let me tell you one thing. We as a community bring in a lot of shades together. When we talk of leadership, like my friend said, it's always about looking at the aspect what is good in a person and bringing out the USP. When she said about gender parity, I think Riddle works for a very long time. Even though Riddle doesn't know me, I know Riddle. Okay, they don't look at whether we have women leaders coming into entrepreneurship or whether they are male leaders coming into entrepreneurship, right? They look at leaders as leaders. People who bring in ideas coming together. When we are growing as organizations, today I hold a company which is only 5 years old and I still call myself an MSME, even though I have 25 years. And why do I say that? Is no matter how big you become, you still stay grounded. Having more women leaders on the top does actually create magic and put you on the top. But not having another side of the coin in your board is not good. You must look at all the biases, you must look at all the perspectives, and you must bring in the latest innovation that everybody brings in, including you. So even the lady who's looking into the phone today, the pink color shirt lady. Okay, don't start looking at her, making her conscious. The intent was that she's here with me listening. That tomorrow if she wants to be there on the board, first she needs to make a difference. Why do you need her on the board? Because we're not here in we're not here in an industry which is not evolving. Every day we have change. When the CEO of Riddle, right, I forgot your name, but with a lot of gratitude, when he asked how many of you have an idea, a lot of us put hands, right? How many of you have an idea where men and women can be on the boards? Can I see some hands? No, because we've not thought about it. Okay, I can tell you a lot of things that women bring up today. I mean, we have endless number of things, innovation, resilience, looking at different perspectives, bias-free approach. Why are we having more independent directors today who are women? Because gender parity has to be low. Most companies today call us because they're bridging the gender parity, which is only at 10-12%. And according to the latest government statistics, we have even tenders coming out telling you that your diversity ratio has to be minimum 36%. What stops women? A lot of things that don't allow them to go on the top. I'm not telling men. I'm not telling gender. I'm talking about circumstances and environment. So today, if you want to see more women being on the top, you have to first give them a push. Like I said, good morning. Because they're not going to come in front until they are being called for their USP. Second, they are not going to be called till you don't find out what do they bring on the table. Because women are smart. Why do you need them? Because you need to grow your company exponentially, not linearly. You want to grow far. You don't want to grow only in India, right? You want to grow far away. So you have to look at different things that women bring on the plate. And we evolve faster than the men. Do you agree? Do you agree? Yes. You can disagree. You don't have to agree. Okay, the men are sitting here. You can disagree. But we do bring innovation. And one thing I know about women, if they hit the boardrooms, they are themselves, they are BU, and there's better to be an original copy because duplicates are duplicates. Right? So be your original version, bring in a lot of resilience, a lot of self-esteem, a lot of perspectives, bias-free approach, and of course leadership comes by default in a woman, because she's been born with that, and that's why we see our mothers and our grandmothers doing awesomely well. The only thing is we adapt faster with technology and the new age India. So with this, I lay my mic to the next speaker so that we can hear more from the other panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, as ma'am said, that you need to make a difference. But when we start entering into a new career, then how do we cope up with it? So my next question is to Aarti ma'am. Ma'am, when you began your careers many years ago, did you ever imagine that you would play a leadership role in your particular organization?
Hi, morning everyone. I think I was born in a family of entrepreneurs, and a family that was very used to getting hit again and again, but was used to getting out of it and making every problem into a big opportunity. So, I remember when my father had put up his new textile unit, and he was 19, finishing his graduation, and the whole thing got burnt, and everything in the family had walked away, and he had to build from there. So from there, building this 500 crore corpus of a finance company was a journey and an opportunity that it took. Similarly, I had, my mom's side of the family who came from Surat. There were 13 people living in one room, and Nanu Bhai Lagardas, one of the biggest brokers there in the stock market. So what we've seen is, and we've been trained, when we were younger, is that you can't settle for average. You can't let an opportunity or a problem just lay. You've got to take it, and you've got to keep getting better. So with that attitude, it's not like I entered business knowing that I have to grow this large company and I want to reach in so many cities and have that kind of revenue or turnover. But we had to keep getting better, and we were always in a position of leading. So that was something that came very, instantly to us. But when I started my career first, I was running how I started like running classes for children, which is a very ordinary thing that people start doing. But from that opportunity, when we could see that there is growth, then grabbing every opportunity that came, whether it was doing it for families across India or for hotels across India, doing kids events, family events, and growing that corpus to 300 cities. It came very step by step, and it was just about not settling for something lower. So that attitude, I knew that it has to grow. I never gave myself an absolute target that has to grow to so much. But I think that helped us keep that leadership goal in mind. Yeah.
And that's very nice, and it's always a very, very huge journey to play upon. My next question is to Komal ma'am. Ma'am, you have been working with a lot of international brands, corporates and celebrities. So what unique challenges do basically women face in leadership positions, and how organizations can address and overcome all of these challenges?
Morning, everybody. It's nice to see shining faces right in the morning here. It's a great question, Atisha, and I've been hearing in and weighing in on everything the panelists, my co-panelists are saying, and very interesting perspectives. I think to begin with, when one looks at a leadership role and when you are interacting with global clients especially, very marked differences. Firstly, I'm not a feminist, I'm a realist. I think that distinguishing factor does come through when we talk. Of course, all for women, and I'll share a very interesting anecdote. It was a boardroom meeting of a very, very prominent brand. The meeting was in Delhi. The head of the company was sitting, of course, at the head of the table, and I think I must be the only woman there, surrounded by around 16 men. Everybody was weighing in on the ideas that the CEO had put, and then what happened is he just refused to take the idea whenever we spoke, or I spoke. So much so, I had to raise my decibel and say, are you not used to hearing a woman take decisions? Maybe that's why it's very alien to you. There was pin drop silence. He had to hear me out. And then it was a very, very fair decision taking. The point I'm trying to make here is, why should my decibel go higher? It should be not an ask, but an equitated entire place to be. So the point I'm trying to make is the leadership roles is not only about leading. There's a difference between being a boss and a leader. A leader will lead to change or transformation, and a boss will tell you what to do. It's two very, very different things. Coming to the international aspect, a huge market difference in the way they approach work. Simple things like work-life balance. Work-life balance, the word is balance. It's not like when I call you because I've paid you, I own you. And that's something very, very archaic, instilled in us, and we sort of are used to a condition to be working that paise diye to kaam karne padenge. It's a transaction. When we say we spend our time, that means we are spending our time against a transaction. So sort of instilling these values, and it begins right from the foundation. So it's lovely work, and I've been hearing in all the lovely work that you're doing around here. It comes in from the foundation that we see our central figures being mothers and grandmothers, etc., managing so beautifully, playing different roles. As a leader, I can say one very, very interesting aspect of the business, which maybe it's talked about or not enough, is taking micro decisions by the second. You're wearing a cap of an auditor 1 second, the next day, the next minute, maybe you're getting a call from home and your servants are constantly calling you, aaj khane mein kya banana hai, and that's a real situation, right? The third minute, you're going to be like somebody's crying in office because something happened. The fourth minute, you have a client call coming in. These are very real situations that you manage. I'm not saying men don't manage it. The fact that you can switch on, switch off with that ease and stay calm in a storm comes with giving that sort of a push, resetting your mind, and working with brands to understand. So for example, simple things. We have a leave policy in our organization called Dude, which is pick your own leaves and Fridays are off. You work from home so that you can manage different things. Now, while it may sound like just one more day work from home, it brings a huge change to the way things can manage and make it easy for more women to come into the force and work. So more on that on the offline way, but thank you.
Wonderful answer. My next question again goes to Aarti ma'am. Ma'am, we are talking about work-life balance. Like as Komal ma'am just said about work-life balance, my question to you is that the issue of work-life balance often arises when discussing women in leadership. That we start thinking a lot that how we are going to balance things in our life, like office is there, personal problems are there, home has to be handled. So how can organizations be supportive? They can create certain supportive environment that enable women to thrive both personally and professionally.
Yeah, while this problem, however cliche it sounds, it does exist and the balance needs to be maintained. To start with, I remember I had to go and meet the ministry at Bhutan. We were meeting the Ministry of Education and the Prime Minister, and my daughter was 3.5. And I didn't care about taking her. I said, no, I don't have a choice, I don't leave her. And she was with me in that room, in the minister's cabin during that meeting. And because it didn't matter to me, it didn't matter to the others. So I think it first starts with the person who's leading the organization, that it should not matter to them if there are children around the workspace. That's a bias we need to break. They're not people who are noisy and making a difference. So that needs to stop.
Absolutely.
I think another very important thing is, okay, I think it's very easy for women because everyone in this room is very okay with women in the workspace. Are you okay with a man being a houseman? How many are? He's going to get so terribly mocked by society. So it's easier for women, it's worse for men. They don't have to switch, we have to switch.
Yes.
We can do both. So what the organizations really need to do is allow that much leave, concession, understanding. When a man says, I need to go pick up my daughter, I need to be at home with my son, I need to be with him, there's a sports class, there's an award ceremony, I need to go. And that much, if the organization starts giving a balance to both, I think it would be easier on both, the whole family. And one thing I used to do when I was at my startup, Clap Global, we had about 23, 24 employees at that startup at that point. I said, everyone, 10 minutes, you'd have to give my daughter. And she was a chatterbox. So you'd have to give that 10 minutes. And at that point, you're not allowed to use your machines. And I think everyone loved it. And I think my daughter grew up to be damn smart because she learned to spend time with marketing and sales and tech. And, so for her, tech was like, acha, you're talking to the computer. You know how to talk to the computer. Teach me the language of the computer. That is tech for her, for a 5-year-old child to spend those hours in a startup. So if companies could come together to say, especially the medium and the larger size companies, okay, every employee in a week takes 15 minutes when you enter that crash area. It's a small area you can give out for all the kids who come. And do something with the children. No phones allowed. It's an easy way for all the parents to know that their kids are well taken after and they are going to get so much exposure to become better schooling than most schools. So I think this is something that organizations should really look at doing.
Very nice, very wonderful answer. Please guys, give a huge round of applause. Now, when we talk about the work-life balance, as we got some good answers from, Komal ma'am and Aarti ma'am, but somehow I have seen that women normally face the issue of imposter syndrome. So, my next question is to Sangeeta ma'am. Ma'am, have you ever felt the imposter syndrome? And if so, then how did you navigate your way through it?
All the time, Atisha. All the time. I don't know how many of you sitting here know what an imposter syndrome is. Let me just break it down in very simple words for you. Imposter syndrome is actually just a psychological feeling where you are doubting your achievements, your abilities, your skills, and you feel that you may be exposed as a fraud, and you doubt yourself irrespective of your capabilities. And I'll put it in a very simple way. Most of the time when women are applauded for something that they do, they stand up on stage and they acknowledge their success to luck or somebody else helping them, an external factor helping them, and they speak less about their personal capacities. It's a worldwide phenomenon, and it happens to a lot of women around the world. I faced it last year when my book was published, and it got so much acclaim, and I thought that, am I really such a good writer? I have grown 2 companies in my career, and I've traveled to, I think, more than 30 countries to receive Business Leadership Growth Awards for these 2 companies. Every time I received one, I thought, that is it just me, or am I just lucky, or, this person is kind and this person's helping me. I'm part of a global network board which promotes women leadership. When I got promoted to that board, I had that syndrome again. It's common. How do you face it? There are just 3 ways that I have learned and that I talk to women leaders all around, whether they're just starting their career or they're in the mid part of their careers. The first thing is acknowledge it. It's there. Accept it. And then start self-talking. Talk to yourself about your achievements. Constantly remind yourself that you're worth it. And the third most important thing that I would tell all the wonderful women sitting around is surround yourself with a very supporting network. It's very, very important to reach out, to network, not just with women, but with men. Men are great allies. So support yourself, surround yourself with that network, and the syndrome will go away. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So now, as we got to know certain facts about this syndrome through Sangeeta ma'am, my next question is to Dr. Raina. Ma'am, that simply means that confidence and self-belief are something that can help a woman to overcome the problem of imposter syndrome, as just we got to know by Sangeeta ma'am. So my question to you is that you have recently launched your self-help book on We All Have Rights on 23rd of June last month itself. So how can you explain, in compliance with your research, that how can women have the freedom of opinion and expression, and how can they get inculcated into, you know, lots of confidence, and they can have a self-belief in them?
Thank you very much for that lovely question. Okay, how many of you feel you're good enough? You're good enough? You don't feel you're good enough. Come on. So now acknowledge yourself that you are good enough. I know you have a lot of people at your home, at your work, at your college telling you, "Tu to bakwas hai. Tere mein to kuch dimag hi nahi hai. You're not good enough. You're a good for nothing." Right? Come on, at least laugh out openly. Are you good enough or not? Yes. Okay. I'm really literally shouting because you need to hear this right in your ears. You are good enough. Sangeeta spoke about imposter syndrome. 99.9% people go through that. You've gone through it someday. Whether you were a student, whether you're an adult, whether you're somebody who's seniors, even today, senior citizens undergo imposter syndrome. Okay? So she's actually teaching you something very, very, very foundational. And you should be listening to it. Second, confidence. Confidence and self-belief comes only with two things. Either you think you don't know anything, but that's not the case. It's only when you know a lot. Okay? So I always say, I wrote this line very clearly for you. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate at something, but we are powerful beyond measure that we don't want to shine. You'll not find these words anyway. Your deepest fear is that we are not inadequate, but we are too powerful beyond measure that we don't want to shine. We fear to shine. Our self-belief is, if I show the other person how good I am, he will start feeling very good. We all know the answer. You start feeling insecure. And we say women don't support women. I think humanity as such doesn't support humanity. It's not about women or men. Right? Am I right? Yes. If that was the case, India would be anywhere close to any other country. And even today we are one of the strongest countries. In technology, in knowledge, in expertise, in skill. Why do people come down here to do their masters and PhDs and IITs and IIMs? It's only because our foundational knowledge is awesome. Where we lack is supporting each other to grow in technology, to grow in innovation, to helping an idea ideate and finally come out as a beautiful entrepreneurship journey. So I would say all of us are going to fall someday. So what are you going to do when you fall? You won't get up. You'll say, I'll go into depression. That's the latest trend. Mama, give me freedom. My son who's 15 years old tells me, why don't you give me freedom? And I said, what is freedom to you? And he says, I don't know. Then I said, why do you ask? When we say we want freedom, when we say we want freedom of speech, freedom of voice, freedom of opinion, we need to have the clarity, what are we asking? आपको फ्रीडम चाहिए, फ्रीडम मिल जाएगी, लेकिन किससे चाहिए पहले वो जान लो, अपने आप से या किसी दूसरे से. Right? We have human rights. I wrote a book called We All Have Rights, and that was launched in Bangkok 3 days back with the House of Parliament Minister. He read only one page and came back to me saying, it's powerful. Where can I leave a testimonial? And I said, it's not yet on Kindle. I'm so sorry, I just launched it. But I will send you a link. When you fall, you get up. When you fall, you get up, make more mistakes, make more mistakes, make more mistakes, and acknowledge that you are human. Acknowledge that you are human because you need to be you and not anybody else. And if somebody wants somebody else, let them get it. You still be you. You will shine at where you have to be. Your worth is not dependent on others. It decides what you create for yourself. So confidence and self-belief is inside. All we need to do is to bring it out and say, गिर गए, उठा के वापस उसको रखना है. टूटने तो वाले हो आप, लेकिन उसको तोड़ने और टूट जाने के बाद भी अगर आप जोड़ पाओ, जो जापानीज कर सकते हैं, जिसको वो मस्त आर्ट का नाम दे सकते हैं, तो आप तो इंसान हो. Yeah? So you got your answers for confidence and self-belief, and someday you feel that you don't have any of them, come to me, I'll give you that one push. Okay? So all over to the next speaker.
Wonderful answer. So, as we just got to hear a wonderful answer from Dr. Raina, she also said that we fear to shine, because keeping on the topic of the panel, as we fear to shine, like why women fear to shine? Somewhere or the other, we are still facing gender bias and stereotypes. So my question is to Komal ma'am. Ma'am, gender bias and stereotypes can hinder women's progress in leadership. What strategies can be implemented to challenge and overcome these biases in the workplace? Like you say that you are a realist, not a feminist, but in somehow, in some place or in some organization or in some other profession, it must be happening. So how can we overcome that?
Thanks for the question, Atisha. So I think, like I've been hearing the panelists and some very, very pertinent points there. It begins with you, right? You're conditioned to think in a particular way, to believe in a certain way. Men do this, women do this, and of course there's equality. But we are physically built also for certain jobs. Like men are physically built for certain jobs, so we can't say, come on, Nari Shakti, let's do that. Let's be a realist, take a step back and understand, for example, the armed forces. There's going to be a certain edge a man will have over a woman, or a woman will have an edge when they take multitasking roles, because we are fabulous at it. Let's just not shy away from that, right? I think the biases, etc., are very ingrained in us, and I'll give you a very, very simple and beautiful example to reflect on. We all love babies. Yeah, that little toothless, bald, human, chubby cheeks, chubby thighs. But what's that one thing about that baby? It's happy, smiling at you with that green milk all over plastered. But you all are smiling right now. Why are we so tough on ourselves? Why are we so looking at that Instagram filter and saying that one has it, I don't? Why do I need to have that glossed up face and that makeup? Why don't I have a thigh gap? Why don't I have a perfect figure because this one has it? Just look at that baby, back at it, drooling away to you, looking at you with those curious eyes and saying, you know what, I don't care, I don't know what you're talking about. That's you. That's very much you, it's just your perspective needs to change. And when you look at it from a lens of being absolutely equitable and happy, a lot will change in the environment around you. It's true, they say that when you educate a woman, you educate a family. When you are happy and you as an axis, do that for your organizations and the places you will build in the future. And I see a lot of entrepreneurs raring to go from here. Keep these in mind. Do you have a chief happy officer in your place? Is there someone you can talk to just to take a break? Simple things. Can you take 3 hours time off instead of explaining why you have those 3 hours time off? Huge difference. Start from within. You'll see the external change.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. That means humanity supports humanity. We all should start, adapting new methods to create this bias. Like we need to stop this bias. So my next question, will be that when we are talking on female leaders, my next question goes to Miss Aarti. Ma'am, what advice do you have for women looking to grow their own business? Like if they want to do something of their own, then how should they begin with?
Thanks, Atisha. Well, I think a large part of you wanting to grow yourself is behavioral. So women or anyone really needs to get a hang of their emotions. Even when it comes to, say, right now I'm in the field of investments, okay? And a lot of the investment decisions, they say, are so behavioral. So we must, from a very young age, as you all are, focus on learning to understand our emotions and create small hacks to change them when you feel you're in a place of being unhappy or, rejected by someone. So, like small things, even today, if I'm feeling that this meeting didn't go well, or I didn't get what I needed to get out of it, I have a small sheet, I call it today, and I just change the statement in my mind and I write it down. It's positively reaffirming to myself that I'm going to make it happen, and it's going to happen. Not today, maybe another day. But I'm writing it down. There's small hacks. Sometimes I just go back and listen to a small thing that I want to, to make myself happy. It could be a song, it could be a Hollywood song that makes me happy. Or tune off and dance in my mind. So come up with small hacks, because when you really want to grow where you are, these small hacks will help you deal with the small things that, take away from your time. And I think having, large visions, having somewhere to reach and growing on that step by step really keeps it going. Because sometimes when you look at the very large picture and you're only looking at that, then you stumble very often. So look at the next thing, keep your goal there, look at the small next thing, and I think keep building out from there. Yeah, that will help us grow in the positions that we are.
Thank you, ma'am.
And one last thing, actually, I must say, as an investor, I've learned this, and it's very important when you want to grow, is learning the art of rejection. We have a tendency to always have an art of, like if you're in the share market, you want to buy, you don't know when to sell, right? So you need to know how to say no to things. So the art of rejection is something I would really recommend that everyone picks up as a skill to keep growing where they are.
Thank you so much, ma'am. But normally this art of rejection, like when we are very young, when we are 22, 23, we are finished with a master's, Y25, I believe not just women, even the young boys and the girls, I should say rather, they do not understand this concept of, the art of rejection. So what advice, Sangeeta ma'am, my question will be to you, what advice you will give to 25-year-old kids present here? Like, approximately I'm assuming that I'm not being like this way that they are just 25-year-old. I'm just saying that normally, that what advice will you give to 25-year-olds? Not just women or, young girls, but just the boys as well.
So I'm actually trying to visualize myself as a 25-year-old. And I'm thinking that from this position of a 50-plus person, if I had to advise somebody who's 25, what would it be if I look back at my life? I think one of them definitely would be, embrace the journey, enjoy the process. And you have to take calculated risks. It's very, very important. And I say that with experience of about 25, 26 years when I was building these two companies. There were a lot of risks that I had to take. Something as simple as being a mother with two children, I had to constantly be all around the world representing this company. There are many risks that I took that have made me what I am today, and that's one advice I would definitely give to all of you. And the third one would be prioritize well-being and self-care. Don't forget yourself, because tomorrow when you become a leader, you're a leader not just because of your accomplishments, you're a leader also because you're a complete, happy human being. So that's important. Keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Now, Dr. Raina has, two questions back. She gave us an answer that you should be yourself, you should be you. So, ma'am, I'd like to know that what advice would you give to the next generation of female leaders?
So I have two questions from her question. Male people don't want advice?
No, they also want that, I believe so.
Rest, no? She said only female leaders you have to give advice. First of all, do you want advice? Yes. You need advice? Yes. Good. You must give advice only to those who want it. That is the biggest learning, keep in your mind. Never give advice, opinion, perspective to anybody who doesn't want it. Right? Yes. It will not work. Simple. So you need advice? Yes. Cool. So they need advice.
Yes, ma'am.
Does the male members want advice?
Yes. I believe everyone wants.
Right. So we'll give everybody. There we bring in equality. I think as a leader, we are here to empower others. We are not here to show what we are today here. A leader is made only when you are empowering other people, and people are your asset. Whether today you're a founder of a company, whether you're a founder of a startup, whether you're an entrepreneur, or whether you wish to become a leader in any role, any competency. Empowering leaders around you only will make you a leader. Second, be level-headed. Do not hear what Mitanshu says. I'm assuming you are Mitanshu. Do not hear what Atisha says. Don't listen to what I say. Don't listen to what Komal says. Don't listen to Komal is here. You should be listening to what you feel is right. Hear your own voice. Get advice from everybody, but do what you seem is right at that situation. So be level-headed, step up into that shoes and see whether you need to empathize, whether you need to understand, you need to get the evidence. I come from the evidence background. Without facts, nothing is true. Get your facts right. It's not about it's about getting facts right. Who told, where did it come from, who did it go to? Thirdly, we all have a voice. If you're a leader, use your voice efficiently. Know where to stand up and speak, know where to stay silent. A leader also needs to stay silent. Right? And finally, every dream begins with a dreamer. If you don't start dreaming, you'll never be a leader. So with that, I say, please take these 4 takeaways. I'm sure all of you have a leader in you. Shine and shine. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Raina ma'am. My last question goes to Komal ma'am. Ma'am, as a leader, as a chief everything officer of your Tute Consult, what views do you want to share with the young crowd present here? Now I'll not say the word women or young girls. I'll always say that what views you want to share with the young crowd present here.
So I've yet not reached that age where I can dispense advice like that. I like to
I
read
am
that,
completely
but
inspired by you, so I believe everyone will.
I can share the little, perhaps 2 learnings that I say very often. One, fail fast, fix faster. Continue to fail, but you have to fix it faster, right? Second, when addressing your own peers, friends, colleagues, everybody, don't share a feeling, share a feedback. Very, very important. That colored opinion becomes a feeling. A non-biased, taking a 3,000 feet stand instead of a 300 feet stand is going to be that little distinguishing factor. So simple, fail fast, fix faster, and share a feedback, not a feeling.
So now I request the young crowd present here, do you have some questions to ask from our panelists? Anyone, anything related to any advice or any view?
Good morning all, and ladies and panel. Miss Komal had just informed. By the way, I'm Colonel Tushar Joshi. I'm from Army. I just retired recently in August 22. Like Miss Komal said, that girls and ladies, they are being inducted in Army, right? And since long, ladies were inducted as medical doctors in AMC, Army Medical Corps. Then they started inducting ladies for supporting arms, like signals, like Corps of Engineers, Army Supply Corps, ordnance. These were all supporting and but a soft branch of Indian Army. Recently, the first batch of girls who have been commissioned into the Corps of Artillery, which is again, which is a fighting arm. Artillery is the one which gives fire support for the infantryman like me to bog down, to keep the heads down of enemy. So these ladies have been inducted into Corps of Artillery, and they are planning to induct them in my arm in infantry. Now, I beg to differ from you at this thing. Like females or the lady officers, they, because of strength or because of social fiber which we have, they are a bit shy or something like that, but it's not true. I have been in ambush, wherein, though she was from a supporting arm, she was with me throughout for 72 hours in ambush. Ambush is the operation itself, wherein we have to lie dogo for 72 hours. Lie dogo means without moving, without anything. And that lady officer was with me for 72 hours, day and night, without moving, eating what we are eating. Whenever she had to go to attend to nature's call, she used to just go just around, because they can't move outside from that ambush site. They used to just go around 10 to 15 meters, and we were respecting all that, because we were into the same situation. But what I want to say is, ladies are just not, they don't shy away from like this, and there is no, actually if you see in army, which is the trend is now, there is no gender bias. I want to say that. And she was fighting with me alongside, shoulder to shoulder, supporting me, giving ammunition, and I was fighting. That was the situation there. So this is one of the examples. Which I had faced, or I was into that situation. So now the things are changing in army also, and when they come to infantry, of course not like Israel or US, but yeah, that thing also will come. We will be staying in the same barrack. Those days will also come. But then we have been tuned that way to look towards the lady as an officer, not as a female. So that is it.
Firstly, thank you for your services to the country. It's incredible, and the story is beautiful and inspiring, and we hope to see a headline later where it's not about female officer inducted, it should be army officer XYZ being recognized. So my point actually is absolutely in resonance with you.
She will be just, say, Major Komal Nath.
Lovely, and we hope to see many such
She will not be Lady Officer Komal Nath, she will be Major Komal Nath.
Absolutely, and more to say. My question or my point actually was in resonance with you, where I said it's more about the physical side, definitely not the softer side. There are certain things that women are blessed with physically, just like a male is. So
I'm telling you, ladies are more stronger than men.
glad to hear that.
I'm telling you. My guys will be, actually they are going to throw something from behind. But I'm not talking of that physical strength, the mental strength. If mental strength is more powerful than physical strength. When we go for cross country, we run almost 20-25 kilometers. जब हम दौड़ते हैं 8-10 घंटे 10 किलोमीटर हम पैरों से दौड़ते हैं, बचे हुए 15 किलोमीटर हम दिमाग से दौड़ते हैं. Go, 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 go. That's it.
No, great point, and I'm in for it.
morning. So my question is that we always women have external factors who would push them to achieve something, right? But sometimes there is a case when the woman herself hinders her path, maybe the mind, or she just says herself what if I can't do this, or what if I am not able to do it? So what can you guys tell about that, or what can be the tips which would help us, push ourselves? Can I take that?
Yes, ma'am. Sangeeta ma'am will answer.
Hi.
Purnima.
Purnima, excellent question. I just resonate back with my life. I was, back in the days, I was a single mother with, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Back in the days, I was a single mother with two very young kids. And I lost my parents very early, actually, when I was in college. And it was a difficult situation. The only thing that made me survive, and I'm sitting here today addressing. Hello, yeah. So I just want to say that back in the days when I was a single mother with very two young kids, and I was just sharing that I lost my parents very early in life when I was just in college. And I was at a crux in life where it was difficult. The uphill path was very difficult. The only thing that kept me going, and I'm sitting here today addressing all of you, is self-belief. Don't give up on yourself. Every day in the morning when the sun rises, nature is turning itself from darkness to light. Even you can do that. So just talk to yourself and everything will happen.
Okay, I just want to add there if I may. I didn't get your name.
Purnima.
Purnima. The number of people you see on stage, they would have gone through that feeling 1 lakh times. Okay. Entrepreneurship is a very lonely journey. When we get up to do something, we fall many times. And many a times there are losses, many a times there are failures, much more than failing a 10th or a 12th exam, let me tell you that. Okay, because I see a lot of us having that pain and agony, 10th pass नहीं हुआ, 12th pass नहीं हुआ, exam pass नहीं हुआ. उसके अलावा बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं जो हमने पास कभी नहीं किए और बहुत बार गिरे भी हैं. बहुत बार पैसे भी गवाए होंगे. बहुत बार समझ में नहीं आया होगा कि क्या करना है. We don't know what to do when we don't find any solutions. I can only say something, if you keep moving, you will somewhere reach somewhere. If you want to be on the top, you have to start somewhere. So no matter how many times you fall, you have to start. And nobody is going to support you there. Especially when you're starting a journey which is your idea. Your father, your mother, your professor, your teacher, your friend, none of them will understand. Because it's your idea. How passionate are you to grow there? How urgent is it for you to be there? How earnest are you to get that? Decides your future. You have to be really crazy for your dream. Okay? Even if it's passing an exam. If you're not crazy about it, you will not push yourself. So you have to push yourself. It's like getting up in the morning at 5 o'clock and saying, रोज मुझे 5 बजे उठना है. आप alarm रख दो. I have had people telling me, please hang your night suit, wear jog suit, so that you get up and once the alarm hits, after it hits, count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, jump out of the bed, put the suit and go. Or even sleep in that suit and wear your shoes and jump out of the bed. But if you're not going to jump out of the bed, nobody can push you there. Yeah, you can tell your husband, like I can tell my husband, after you hear the alarm, push me out. Otherwise the alarm will keep ringing. You can get source of accountability like that. But for your business, for your studies, you will not get any accountability. It has to be you. Okay? And for you, you should read about Jack Ma. I think we all know he has gone into some 17, 18 businesses and failed about 70, 80 times. Read about him. Because as many times we have failed, he would have failed, I don't know, 3 times X. But every time he failed, his story reads how he got up. It inspires somewhere because you wanted an answer. I made it a little long, but excuse me for that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Purnima, for asking such a wonderful question. Now I would like to, sorry, there is one more question. Yes, please, go ahead. Please.
Firstly, thank you for your valuable words. I really feel that each one of us will bring about a change in ourselves. My question is that if a person is in a leadership position and every one or the other day a person feels that he or she is taking the 70 or 80% of the crowd on the same page, but that 10-20% of the people are not having good perspective or are having different perceptions and are not able to understand what the things are, how good the things are going on. So should a leader focus on that, whether he should focus on that, I should be coming up with, bringing about a change in its perceptions of that 20% of the crowd, or should a leader be focusing on going forward with what good he or she is doing? So what would be, in what shoes should a leader be in?
Well, sorry, I didn't get your name.
Utmeet.
Okay. So yeah, these are real life situations. Wherever you are at work, you're going to have people who counter you. And when they counter you, it makes you think in another direction. So if you're going to have unilateral one vision, you will probably not reach the right conclusion. So multi-dimensional people, that's why, the whole thing of having diversity in the boardroom is this, and it's good to entertain that. But at the same time, we need to remember that we probably say spirituality mein satsang bolte hain, sat ka sang ka rang lagega. So at the same time, you can't have someone who's low on values. You can't have someone who doesn't have a wavelength or the goal is completely not parallel with the company. So you need to make sure that because uska rang chadega aap pe aur baki logon pe bhi chadte rahega. So while you keep that in mind, having someone having a contrary opinion is extremely good. And even as she said that about Jack Ma, that was one of the things that Jack Ma would say, I would always hire people who are far more intelligent than me because I was learning from them. And he had no ego or qualms about that. So I think that's an attitude you need to have.
Okay, thank you so much.
So I think what Komal said was very appropriate answer. एक और चीज मैं उसमें ऐड करूंगी कि जब भी so as a leader, okay, there are two perspectives to it. For companies which are very huge, like a TCS, a Wipro, some big IBM, okay, any big companies that you see today, manufacturing, pharma, IT, automation, any of them. Losing somebody is very big, even if it's the smallest employee, because they all have talent. Talent acquisition is the most important thing today for any company. Okay, we still are small scale people, but for big companies, you just can't throw out somebody if he's an important person to you, even if he's in technology, IT, automation or anything. They will think 10 times before pushing you out. Okay, so I will just say, think about who are you wanting to push out. Is that person really relevant to you? If he's relevant and still not making sense, like she said, if he's still not aligned in your values, like she said, because without alignment of values, goals, you cannot have that person, for sure. You have a vision, company has a vision, it has to be aligned. लेकिन अगर वो align नहीं कर रहा है या नहीं करना चाहता है, आपको solution find करना पड़ेगा, जिससे वो पहले alignment में आए, instead of throwing him out. Throwing him out is not a solution, you will not find the next fit. Okay. But if you're a small company, it's easy to replace somebody. Today, I think that's why we all very happily say, hey, I don't want to work with you because your attitude is not right. We all do that, right? When we don't like something, we just walk out. There is no accountability like the companies and like our people who used to work for companies. I would like to take this statement and with great audacity that my husband works with one company since 36 years. Okay, and it gives a lot of commitment about being with that company. And I always keep thinking, kaise, kyun? He has all the right reasons. Trust, commitment. I love that company, the way they have brought out the value systems. So that is the kind of company you should be creating, and like she said, bringing in lots of people who have different perspectives, and all should be intelligent than him. They have to be intelligent than you. You cannot have dumb people. If you are keeping dumb people, make them intelligent to you. That's fine. But keeping knowledgeable people will increase your growth. Okay? So, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Also, I'm giving the mic to Tushar sir as he wants to put our question across.
Now the leadership, again coming back to army. Leadership is the most important thing what in army you require that. And what you said, we will have different type of people under our command. When I was commanding my Kumaon regiment, that time we have got companies. In that we have people who are specialized in particular thing, like particular instrument they are, in particular weapon they are expert, in particular, some are good in documentation, some are good in ammunition, some are good in various this thing. And what Ms. Rana said, they have to be intelligent than the leader. Leader is to lead, and a leader should know which man to be employed where for what work. Right man for the right job. That is leader's work. And of course, people under his command, they have to be intelligent than him. Because he is an expert in particular thing. Now, I have a case in point, when again in my battalion, there were few people who were very brash. Discipline case. Absolutely discipline case. छुट्टी जाएंगे तो 4-4 दिन लेट आएंगे, ओवरस्टे करके आएंगे. कहीं जाएंगे तो मार पीट करके आएंगे, किसी का सर तोड़ के आएंगे, बहुत कुछ करेंगे. And they were indisciplined guys. उनको मैं सजा दे दे के थक गया. एक बार दिया, 2 बार दिया. Then what I did, you know, we have got an organization called Rashtriya Rifles, you must have heard, where they are actually for counter-insurgency in J&K. I posted these guys there. They go on deputation for 2-3 years and then come back. 3 साल के लिए मैंने इन दोनों तीनों को भेजा, जो जिसके my subordinate leaders below me, commanders below me. They were saying कि साहब ये ठीक नहीं है, ये ना ये करता है, डिसिप्लिन केस है, किसी का मारता है, ओके, सजा दिया, गलती किया सजा दिया, but उसका कुछ तो I have to put these things at rest. मैंने इनको पोस्ट किया राष्ट्रीय राइफल्स में, and believe me, these guys did wonderful job, क्योंकि उनका जो क्या होता है उसका, उनका जो उनकी जो फितरत थी, so they made them successful there. They just killed terrorists like anything because that जज्बा था उनमें, मतलब मार धाड़ करते थे बाहर, but I channelized their this thing into a proper use. So leader has to, we will find many people under him of various temperament, various habits. We have to use their best quality. You have to use them, their talent, bolo talent, bolo ya flair, bolo anything, in a proper use and channelize them. So we should not throw away them, like you said. We should not throw away them. We have to use them, and that is what the leader does. I hope some part of it I would have answered to the lady who had asked. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. As we are running out of time, so please guys give a huge round of applause for Sangeeta ma'am as she will be taking the lead now.
So as a token of appreciation, we would like to felicitate Sangeeta ma'am. Uh, I would like to thank the esteemed panelists for this enlightening panel discussion on women leadership. I would like to express my deepest gratitude to our distinguished panelists for sharing their expertise and perspectives. Your insights have been invaluable in shedding light on the importance of women leadership and the path forward. Let us continue to advocate for gender equality, amplify the voices of women, and create spaces where women can thrive as leaders. So now, as a token of appreciation, we would like to felicitate our all the panelists with a small memento.
Guys, huge round of applause, please. Bring in the energy from our So I would like to conclude by saying that when women break barriers and shatter stereotypes, they become trailblazers, inspiring others, and we are just here inspired by all our dignitaries. And lastly, I would like to thank Ms. Sangeeta Marga Agarwal, Dr. Raina Khatri ma'am, Ms. Aarti Chhabria ma'am and Ms. Komalat ma'am for sharing their wonderful views. And at last, I'd like to say that as I am a hardcore poetry reader, so there are some lines for all of you. In fact, it's not just for young girls, it's for everyone present up here. जिंदगी की असली उड़ान अभी बाकी है, जिंदगी के कई इम्तिहान अभी बाकी हैं, अभी तो थामी है मुट्ठी भर जिंदगी, अभी तो आसमान छूना भी बाकी है. So again, give a huge round of applause for all of yourselves and the dignitaries present here. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra.
So now we have a very special guest in this auditorium. You may have already met him. He is from our very own Indian Army, Mr. Tushar Joshi, or should I call him Colonel Tushar Joshi. As he said, that Colonel Tushar Joshi was commissioned in Kumaon Regiment, and while being in Special Action Group (NSG), Colonel Tushar Joshi led the operation at Akshardham Temple, Gandhinagar, Gujarat, on 24th September 2002, wherein 2 terrorists killed 40 civilians and had taken 90 civilians hostage. Colonel, then Major Joshi, killed the terrorists and rescued the hostages. While doing so, Colonel Tushar Joshi received gunshot injuries on neck. He was conferred with Gallantry Award, Sena Medal by the President of India on 15th August 2003. Colonel Tushar Joshi, Sena Medal tenanted, his tenure in Northeast in Nagaland and Manipur as company commander and was instrumental in neutralizing Naga militants. Colonel Tushar Joshi later went on to command his Kumaon Regiment Battalion in high altitude area and in Hyderabad, where his battalion under his stewardship received Chief of Army Staff commendation for the operations conducted in high altitude in Kupwara, Jammu and Kashmir. He has also undergone training with Marines in USA in counter-terrorist operation. On 31st August 2022, after leaving 30 long years of illustrious military service behind him, before that he was posted as a commanding officer of 2 Gujarat Battalion NCC and 3 Maharashtra Battalion NCC. I would like to call upon stage Colonel Tushar Joshi and speak for the event. Thank you, sir.
Before I start, so after the panel discussion, how is the Josh? मजा नहीं आया. How is the Josh? How is the Josh? मेरे से आवाज ज़्यादा आनी चाहिए. Okay. Before I start, I just want to narrate a story to you. This is my story only. I was a normal, mediocre student. 60%, 65% आते थे. 10th में 60%, 65%. 12th में 55%. Graduation में 65, 70%. And because पढ़ाई तो ठीक है. मेरे जनरली पढ़ाई वॉज इन बैक सीट, बट आगे मेरा बाकी की चीज़ें होती थी. आई यूज्ड टू प्ले फुटबॉल. I used to participate in elocutions, debates. ये चीज़ें ज़्यादा करता था compared to studies. घर से जूते भी पड़ते थे, but yet मैं सुधरा नहीं. बट एक दिमाग में था कि आई वॉन्टेड टू ज्वाइन आर्मी. मैंने यूपीएससी एग्जाम क्लियर किया, वेंट फॉर सर्विस सिलेक्शन बोर्ड इंटरव्यू, हमारा एसएसबी इंटरव्यू होता है फॉर सिलेक्शन ऑन ऑफिसर, एसएसबी इंटरव्यू के लिए गया, फेल्ड, केम बैक, 6 महीने बाद फिर से एग्जाम हुआ, आई क्लियर्ड यूपीएससी अगेन, वेंट फॉर एसएसबी, फेल्ड, अगेन केम बैक, यूपीएससी एग्जाम लिखा, क्लियर किया, एसएसबी के लिए गया, एसएसबी में मेरे आईओ ने पूछा कि why are you so eager to join army? I told him that's my aim in life, to join army. Okay. Then he asked me, why do you want to join army? मैंने like a typical जो स्टूडेंट्स जवाब देते हैं या कैंडिडेट जवाब देते हैं कि आई वांट टू सर्व मदरलैंड, मेरे को यूनिफॉर्म पहनना है, मेरे देशभक्ति है, ये करना है, वो करना है, मैंने ये टिपिकल आंसर दिए ही नहीं। आई टोल्ड हिम कि मैंने सिविल सर्विसेज के लिए भी एग्ज़ाम लिखा, उसमें आई क्लियर्ड प्रीलिम्स, मैं पढ़ाई में बिल्कुल इतना अच्छा नहीं था लेकिन यूपीएससी क्लियर करता था, आई डोंट नो हाउ, बट प्रीलिम्स मैंने क्लियर किया, तो वो मेंस के लिए टाइम था। आई यूज्ड टू क्लियर ऑल एग्जाम्स, बट अगेन ऑल द रिजर्वेशंस के कारण हमारा वो नहीं होता था, वैकेंसी नहीं होती थी, आई यूज्ड टू फॉल बैक, नहीं होता था। देन आई टोल्ड हिम कि आई हैव ट्राइड हियर इन रेलवेज, इन प्रोबेशनरी बैंक ऑफिसर्स, सिविल सर्विसेज, मैं सब जगह ट्राई किया, वैसे ही मैंने आर्मी ट्राई किया, देन ऐसा कोई नथिंग। सो डोंट यू थिंक कि है ना आपको नेशन से, मैं बोला नेशन से प्यार कौन नहीं करता, हु इज नॉट देशभक्त, हु इज नॉट कंट्रीब्यूटिंग टुवर्ड्स नेशन बिल्डिंग? क्या इंजीनियर्स नेशन बिल्डिंग में नहीं कर रहे हेल्प? दे आर डूइंग सो। डॉक्टर्स आरंट दे लुकिंग आफ्टर द नेशंस हेल्थ? वो भी नेशन बिल्डिंग है। नॉर्मल बिल्डर वो भी नेशन बिल्डिंग कर रहा है, नॉर्मल मेसन वो भी कर रहा है, वो भी नेशन बिल्डिंग के लिए कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहा है। तो इट इज नॉट कि आर्मी में जाने से ही यू आर देशभक्त और नेशन बिल्डिंग के लिए नेशन बिल्डिंग कर रहे हो, इट्स नॉट सो। उसके दिमाग में क्या है पता नहीं, बट व्हाट इफ वी फेल यू अगेन दिस टाइम? बोला नहीं, आई हैव गॉट वन मोर चांस। तो वो सोचने लगा क्या करूं, एंड I got through in that SSB, and after one and a half, 2 years, actually I am 2 years late in army, I joined army. Army join किया, I joined 21 Kumaur regiment, grew up in my unit, learnt, went to all the courses, mandatory courses, then again my commanding officer, then Colonel Bajwa, उसने वो देखा कि है ना ये बंदा, I was damn physically fit, I have got no this thing to say, I was damn physically fit, very fit। तो ये बोलता है ये तो ना इससे भागता दौड़ता रहता है, बस इसी में मार धाड़ में रहता है, पढ़ाई में कोर्सेज में भी I didn't do well in, आगे जहाँ पढ़ाई होती थी ना, जहाँ जबरदस्ती की पढ़ाई कि है ना तेरे को यही आंसर देना है, यही करना है, तो वहाँ मेरे से होता नहीं था। आंसर्स यूज्ड टू बी माइन, और वो किसी को हजम नहीं होता था, एंड दैट वाज द रीजन आई नेवर गॉट गुड मार्क्स। एनीवे, अगेन माय कमांडिंग ऑफिसर थॉट कि ये बंदा कहीं ना इंस्ट्रक्टर, किसी को इंस्टीट्यूशन में इंस्ट्रक्टर जाने लायक तो नहीं है, इसको भेजो एनएसजी में। लाइक आई वाज जस्ट गिविंग एन एग्जांपल, अभी मैंने ऐसे बंदों को डाल दिया था राष्ट्रीय राइफल्स में, सेम थिंग, ही पुट मी इनटू नेशनल सिक्योरिटी गार्ड्स एंड एज अ ब्लैक कैट कमांडोस। I did my probation, and that probation is the most difficult probation in Asia. It is just after GSG 9. वहाँ पर I passed my probation with flying colors. I was first in merit in that. Then I joined just immediately after probation, I joined 51 Special Action Group, which is a counter-terrorist group. The NSG has got two wings, 51 Special Action Group and 52 Special Action Group. One is for counter-terrorist and one is for counter-hijack. So I was in 51, that is counter-terrorist. I did well in my battalion, that 51 SEG. And in course of time, I went to US. I got trained with Marines, came back, and then on 24th September 2002, I had just come back from my game parade. I had just I had gone every evening. We had a game parade, so we used to go for games, sports के लिए जाते थे. वो खेल के आया. I was sitting with my wife having tea in my lawn. घर के lawn में चाय पी रहा था. तभी मेरे रेडियो सेट, I was an alert squadron commander. We have got various, there are 3 squadrons in 51 SAG. So I was a squadron commander of one of the squadrons, alert squadron. और तभी मेरा रेडियो सेट बजने लगा. तब जस्ट नए नए मोबाइल्स आए थे. This is in year 2002, 24 September 2002. अराउंड शाम को 5:30-6 बजे घर आया था मैं खेल के. एंड मेरा रेडियो सेट बजने लगा, मेरा मोबाइल बजने लगा. And they started calling code words on it. Code word एक होता है जो actual operation होता है, तो we give us code word which actually I cannot call it now. But that code word, they started shouting code word on that radio set. I told my wife, just switch on the TV. There is something has gone wrong. And TV जब on किया, TV में अक्षरधाम टेम्पल का बता रहे थे. And there were 40-50 dead bodies with blood. And then it was written 2 to 3 commandos entered into Akshardham temple at Gandhinagar. They have killed 40 to 50 and they have taken hostages, 80 to 90 people hostages. That was it. I saw that. As soon as I came out, my gypsy came in, fully laden with ammunition, weapon, everything. I sat into it. I just went. उसी ड्रेस पे जो इसमें ट्रैक सूट पे था, उसी में मैं चला गया पालम एयरपोर्ट. एंड माय कमांडोज दे केम इनटू द बस. सीधा वो हम लोग पालम एयरपोर्ट पहुंचे. I just don't want to go into details because then it goes long. We flew to Ahmedabad. Ahmedabad se we were the police vehicles had come to fetch us up. We moved to Gandhinagar. Belonged ourselves in the circuit house near Akshardham temple, Swaminarayan temple. Then I, along with my subordinate commanders, went to the temple. There, Mr. Chakrabarti, IG police, he handed over the operational responsibility to me. That time I was major. He handed over the operational responsibility to me because, and then by then, police commandos, 4 police commandos were already martyred. And they had to come back and place the cordon. I took the control of the situation and placed my inner cordon. We had around 60 to 70 commandos with me. Placed my cordon and then moved into the temple. How we organize ourselves is, we are organized into small hits. 4, 5 commandos in one hit. So 6 hits from the left, 6 hits from the right. We started searching the temple rooms. There were 101 rooms in that temple. Because TV में तो मेरे को इतना दिखा नहीं था. जब IL-76 से we were flying to this thing, मैंने एयरक्राफ्ट में बैठे बैठे इतना ही ब्रीफ किया कमांडोज को कि ऐसा ऐसा हुआ है, 40-50 लोगों को मारा है, इतने 80-90 लोगों को बंधक लिया है और हमको उनको टेररिस्ट को मारना है, उनको छुड़ाना है. इससे ज्यादा मेरे को ब्रीफिंग था ही नहीं. आई डिडंट नो. मिस्टर अडवाणी का कॉल मेरे पास आया. दैट बिकॉज अलर्ट स्क्वाड्रन कमांडर का होम मिनिस्टर के पास फोन नंबर होता है. I got a call. बोला कि बेटा आपने सुना? तो बोला हाँ सर हमने सुना and we have already moved towards Palam. Okay, coming back to this thing, we started searching into the temple. Now the most difficult thing was how to search for those two terrorists, because IG police had told me कि 15-20 मिनट पहले फायर आया था, उसके बाद कोई फायर आया नहीं है, और इतने बड़े टेंपल में कहां पर है हमको पता नहीं है. Now the most important task was to search for them. How to search? Now every room में जा तो नहीं सकते, जाना तो पड़ेगा, but we had to carry out speculative fire. दरवाजे को लात मार के अंदर फायर करते थे, और अगर रिटेलिएशन आता है, that means those terrorists are inside. तो इस तरह से we started searching on the left flank, और right flank से left से तो कोई सक्सेस मिला नहीं. लेफ्ट में जब कर रहे थे तो लेफ्ट साइड में ऐसा कॉरिडोर है, लाइक स्वामीनारायण टेम्पल इज लाइक अ कॉरिडोर, और बीच में टेम्पल है. उस यहाँ से राइट फ्लैंक से सर्च कर रहे थे तो एक टॉयलेट था. टॉयलेट में उन्होंने जब फ्लैश बैंग डाला, फ्लैश बैंग मतलब एक स्टन ग्रेनेड होता है जो फटता है ऐसे मुंह की, मतलब गिव्स अ ब्राइट लाइट, उसमें ना ब्लाइंडनेस आ जाता है, एंड देन इन दैट ब्लाइंडनेस वी गो एंड फायर इनसाइड. वो किया एंड दे वेंट इन, दे फायर्ड एंड दे गॉट द रिटेलिएशन. अंदर से फायर आया, वो अंदर घुसे फायर करते करते, और तभी बाहर कॉर्डन जो लगा हुआ था, दे कॉल्ड मी ऑन माय रेडियो सेट कि साहब वो बाहर आ गया है. कितने आए? मतलब नहीं, एक ही आया है. ओके, पर वो बाथरूम चेक कर लिया था तो वहां पर और कोई दूसरा नहीं था, एक बाहर आया है. और द टाइम वॉज अराउंड 2 o'clock इन द नाइट, माइंड यू. आई हैड नाइट विजन डिवाइसेस जिससे आई कैन सी. आवर नाइट विजन डिवाइसेस दे वर्क ऑन एम्बिएंट लाइट, बट बिकॉज वो जो दीवार थी, लाइक टॉयलेट से वो बाहर भागा पीछे के दरवाजे से. पीछे एक दरवाजा था जहां से हाउसकीपर्स आके वॉशरूम क्लीन करते थे, तो उस दरवाजे से वो बाहर भागा. एंड व्हेन ही वेंट आउटसाइड, वहां पर एक नर्सरी थी, तो टेंपल की वॉल, नर्सरी, और एक और छोटी वॉल थी 4 feet की, और उसके ऊपर ना ऐसे लाइट्स थे. एंड आवर कमांडोज हैड टेकन कवर बिहाइंड दैट वॉल. Now the situation was that terrorist was between the wall, that our commandos and the temple. और यहाँ से टॉयलेट से भी बंदे हमारे अंदर घुसे हुए थे. रात में 2 बजे वो नाइट विजन डिवाइसेस काम नहीं कर रहे थे, क्योंकि जो दीवार के ऊपर जो लाइट थी वो मतलब इट वाज दे वर रेंडरिंग आवर नाइट विजन डिवाइसेस मतलब नॉन फंक्शनल, काम ही नहीं करे. बट देन उसके जो फ्लैश आ रहा था, जब फायर फाइट चल रहा था, उसका जो फ्लैश आ रहा था, उससे आई कुड फाइंड हिज लोकेशन. एंड देयर वाज अ स्मॉल पुडल ऑफ वाटर जहाँ पर आई कुड सी द रिपल्स. कहीं से लाइट पड़ रही थी उसके ऊपर, तो रिपल्स दिख रहे थे, तो उसकी लोकेशन मैंने आई कुड लोकेट हिम. आई टोल्ड माय buddy's name was कमांडो सुरजन सिंह भंडारी, कि बेटे मैं फायर करूंगा, पहले आप फायर करोगे, आई विल जंप ओवर द वॉल. पहले तो उसको बता दिया, कैन यू सी हिम दैट फ्लैश, फायर के फ्लैश से. बोला हाँ साहब मैं देख रहा हूँ. तो बोला अभी हमने ऐसे करना है, क्योंकि अभी तो हम फायर ऐसे अंधाधुंध फायर करने से फायदा नहीं है, क्योंकि दीवार से एज सुन एज वी वर रेजिंग आवर हेड ही यूज्ड टू फायर, एंड वी वर बीइंग सिलहटेड. ही वाज एट द एडवांटेजेस पोजीशन बिकॉज वी वर बीइंग सिलहटेड बिकॉज ऑफ सिटी लाइट्स बिहाइंड, और वो था अंधेरे में. वी वर फायरिंग विद जस्ट अंदाजे से फायर कर रहे थे, बट देन वी वर प्यूकिंग ऑफ आवर एम्युनिशन विच आई डिडंट वांट टू. तो मैंने उसको बोला सुरजन हमने ऐसा करना है, मैं अंदर जाता हूं, मैं जंप मारता हूं वॉल के ऊपर से, एंड यू गिव मी अ कवर फायर. बोला ओके साहब. और फिर मैं दीवार के उस तरफ जाने के बाद आई विल स्टार्ट फायरिंग एंड देन यू क्लाइंब ओवर द वॉल. That was this thing. I said, okay, stand by, go. That was our word. That was our phrase to speak, to give the orders. I said, stand by, go. And he got up, and I was about to climb over the wall. He fired, and the terrorist fired. इस फायर में I just saw Surjan Singh falling down. I saw his eyes were rolling up, had rolled up. I gave him CPR, तभी मैंने CPR दिया उसको, and he took a long breath, लिया and बोला okay, he's okay, but I was trying to revive him, called for my stretcher bearers और उसको evacuate कराया. But when I was giving CPR to him, I saw blood on his face. Because पहले face पे blood नहीं था, एकदम face पे blood आया. I realized that blood was mine, which had spurted out from the neck. When I was blowing his mouth. My blood splurted out from this cut, and it had come on his face. जब पता लगा कि मेरे को कटा है, तब दर्द होने लगा. तब तक पता ही नहीं लगा, क्योंकि एड्रेनलिन was pumping, बॉडी वार्म थी, आगे एनिमी था, उसमें मुझे पता ही नहीं लगा. और जब एक्चुअली जब पता लगा, मैं हाथ लगाया तो देखा there is a cut. Then it started paining me. Okay, it's all in mental. Anyway, I was taken out by one of my commandos. बोला साहब थोड़ा वो करा के हो, आपका कटा हुआ है, यहाँ से ब्लड निकल रहा है. तो they administered some first aid to me. तो यहाँ पे पर देखा तो डॉक्टर ने बोला कि बहुत ज़्यादा कटा हुआ है. तो मैं बोला you do something, you patch it up. तो उन्होंने वो स्टेपलर टाइप होता है कुछ ऐसा, स्टेपल टूपल कर दिया उन्होंने. I don't know what they have done, but then गॉज लगा के उन्होंने बांध दिया. बोला सर आप आराम करिए, इंजेक्शन दिया वोरन का, बोले आप मत जाओ. बोले then मैं बोला how can I stay here? I have to just finish off the task. I went back. I didn't listen to him. I went back. वहाँ गया. Then there was another buddy who came to me. His name was Durga Prasad Dimbri. He was from 4 Special Forces. He came to me. बोला, I told Durga, अभी इनको छोड़ना नहीं है. इसने मेरा एक नुकसान कर दिया है, because मेरा सुरजन सिंह भंडारी को चोट लगी थी. हमने वही सिस्टम किया. मैं बोला मैं दीवार कूदता हूँ, तू फायर कर. I jumped over the wall. He fired. Then I started firing. He jumped over. But इसमें there was no retaliation from there. जब पास में जाकर देखा तो he was already dead. Probably जब सुरजन सिंह के साथ जब फायर फाइट हो रहा था, तब उसमें वो मारा गया होगा, और हमने जब ग्रेनेड फेंका तब वो मारा गया होगा. Anyway, उसके बॉडी को बाहर निकाला. But now the most important again, दूसरा task in hand was, where was the second terrorist? But it was not very difficult, because he had taken the hostages. और उसी टॉयलेट के बाजू में एक ऐसे ऑडिटोरियम था. There was auditorium like this, and उस ऑडिटोरियम में he had taken the hostages. Now, as per our drill, what we do whenever we enter into any room or building, we blow up the door. We put the frame charge all along and just blast the door and then enter into it. But that I couldn't do there because there were civilians inside. And NSG का एक वो सिद्धांत है, principle है, once NSG is inside, there should not be any collateral damage, no civilian casualty. That was bottom line. So that was there in my mind. This method, I had to just, I couldn't follow that method. But then, I had to play with the psychology of the terrorist. Now, how did I do that? I told everyone to keep, now they will not fire, there's no firing to be, there should not be any fire, no grenade blasting, nothing. And absolutely silent. Absolutely silence everywhere. And उतनी देर में self and Durga Prasad Dibri, we climbed over the temple, abseiled down. Abseiling, आपने सुना होगा rappelling. You must have heard ना rappelling. वैसे एक abseiling है. Abseiling is the equipment where you have got a descender on it. You tie a harness and come down. When you press the descender, you come down, and when you release it, it's hands free. You keep hanging on that rope. So that is called abseiling. तो छत के ऊपर से we abseiled down on the that corridor का जो छज्जा था, ऊपर जो छत थी, we climbed on to that with the harness on it. The situation was now, if there is a door like this, and this was the corridor, and say this is a door, we were hanging on that roof of the corridor. The corridor was like this. We were hanging on it. Now, my plan was, what happens is इतनी देर से खूब फायर फाइट चल रही है, धमाका हो रहा है, और एकदम शांत हो जाए, तो अंदर से उसकी इंक्विजिटिवनेस बढ़ रही थी, क्या हो गया है, क्यों शांत हो गया है, कुछ बाहर मेरा साथी मारा तो नहीं किया या समथिंग. तो यही मैं खेल रहा था. तो उतनी देर में वो बंदा बाहर आया, एंड आई वॉज हैंगिंग देयर ओनली. मेरा एम था कि वो आएगा तो उसको मैं आई विल जस्ट गेट डाउन इन फ्रंट ऑफ हिम एंड शूट हिम. और मेरे जो स्नाइपर्स लगाए थे उनको भी बोला था, इफ यू गेट अ क्लियर हेडशॉट, स्नाइपर यू नो अंडरस्टैंड स्नाइपर राइट, इट्स अ वेपन, लॉन्ग बैरल का होता है, इट्स वेरी शार्प शूटिंग के लिए काम आता है. तो वी हैड अ PSG9 प्रिसीजन शूटिंग गन. वो मैंने स्नाइपर्स को बताया था. स्नाइपर के में ना वो भी होता है क्या, टेलीस्कोप, उससे ही गिव्स द सर्वेलेंस, ही कैन डू द सर्वेलेंस आल्सो. ही टोल्ड मी कि साहब मेरे को क्लियर नहीं दिख रहा है, आपको उतरना पड़ेगा, आप जहां उतरोगे वही आपके राइट साइड में, आप ही के. देन आई वाज टेलिंग हिम, मेरे को बता मेरा वेपन की अलाइनमेंट कैसी है. तो जैसे बोला, हाँ स्टॉप सर, ये अलाइनमेंट है. तो आई हैव टू गेट डाउन विद द वेपन, एंड एक हाथ में डिसेंडर. मैं मेरे बडी को स्टैंड बाय गो बोलने वाला था और उतरने ही वाला था, क्योंकि आई कैन नॉट बेंड डाउन एंड सी. स्नाइपर्स वहां से मेरे को बता रहा था देख के, बोला साहब वो अंदर चला गया. आफ्टर वेटिंग फॉर सो लॉन्ग, आई वॉज हैंगिंग देयर एंड इट वॉज पेनिंग ऑल ओवर, क्योंकि हार्नेस टाइट होता है. वो फिर से अंदर चला गया. आई डिडंट नो हाउ लॉन्ग आई हैव टू वेट नाउ. Now there was a conversation between me and my buddy. I was just saying, बेटे घर में सब ठीक है. I was making him comfortable कि आगे अभी अगले 1 सेकंड में या 2 सेकंड में या 5 मिनट में, 10 मिनट में, 20 मिनट में, 25 मिनट या आधा पौन घंटा लटकना पड़ेगा. इतने टाइम फ्रेम में अभी से लेके फ्रॉम 0 सेकंड टू आई डोंट नो हाउ मच, हमारी मौत आ सकती है या कुछ भी हो सकता है. मैंने बोला, दुर्गा जो पहला फायर करेगा वो जिएगा. आई टोल्ड दुर्गा दैट. बोला साहब हम जीतेंगे. दैट मच कॉन्फिडेंस ही हैड इन मी. मैंने बोला अपने वेपन को सिंगल शॉट पे रखो. देयर आर 2 मोड्स इन अ वेपन, सिंगल शॉट एंड बर्स्ट फायर. सिंगल शॉट में यू जितने बार ट्रिगर दबाओगे उतनी बार गोली जाएगी. इन बर्स्ट फायर द राउंड्स दे कीप ऑन फायरिंग टिल योर फिंगर इज ऑन द ट्रिगर. तो सिंगल शॉट पे रखा. नाउ सिंगल शॉट पे रखने का कारण ये कि बिकॉज इफ यू फायर बर्स्ट फायर देन देयर इज अ चांसेस ऑफ कोलैटरल डैमेज. वो अकेला आएगा नहीं, किसी को साथ में लेके आएगा तो बाजू वाले को भी कैजुअलिटी हो सकती है. सो आई टोल्ड हिम टू पुट इट अ सिंगल शॉट, एंड अगर मेरे हथियार में माल फंक्शन होता है तो यू हैव टू फायर. नहीं तो उसके बाद वो, क्योंकि द डिस्टेंस वाज से इतना ही था, एब्सोल्युटली इतना ही था कॉरिडोर. इसके सामने मैं उतर रहा हूं तो he doesn't have to take aim, but I had to take aim because वो किसी न किसी हॉस्टेज को बाहर लेके आएगा. तो that was important. वो तो he can just give ऐसा फायर कर सकता है. बोला जो पहले फायर करेगा वो जिएगा. बोला ओके. मैंने बोला उस वक्त I used to smoke cigarette. Actually I used to smoke cigarette. और मैंने बोला my wife at home, she was pregnant with my son and I had 1.5 year daughter. वहाँ लटके I am telling you, I got no qualms in saying that I had fear in me कि अगर मेरे को कुछ हो जाए तो मेरे बाद मेरे वाइफ को, मेरे बच्चे को क्या होगा. And she was pregnant. पर करते रहे. I didn't, that is the thing, I cannot show that fear on my face, otherwise people under my command, they will have jitters. So I didn't want that, and the complete operation would have been jeopardized. मैं फिर उसको बोला कि दुर्गा, अगर मुझे कुछ हो जाता है, क्योंकि आगे पता नहीं था, अगर मुझे कुछ हो जाता है, मेरी जेब से ना सिगरेट का पैकेट निकाल के फेंक देना, नहीं तो मेम साहब को पता लगा कि मैं सिगरेट पीता था, उसको बहुत बुरा लगेगा. बोला, उसके आंख में पानी आ गया. बोला, साहब ऐसा क्यों बोल रहे हो, आपको कुछ नहीं होगा. बोले, उस वक्त बैठे बैठे भी मैं ये सोचता था, मेरे को हमेशा वाइफ यूज्ड टू ना, मेरे को डांटी रहती थी कि सिगरेट मत पियो मत पियो मत पियो. सुधरने वाले थे नहीं हम लोग. बट ऑफ कोर्स आई डोंट स्मोक नाउ. तो पर मेरे को उसमें भी ये था कि वाइफ को सिगरेट के बारे में पता नहीं लगना चाहिए, तो सिगरेट का पैकेट बाहर फेंक देना, मैंने उसको बोला था. एनीवे, ये कन्वर्सेशन चल रहा था उस वक्त, लटके लटके. बोला, साहब आपको कुछ नहीं होगा साहब. बोला ओके. तब तक इतने में उसने, स्नाइपर ने बोला कि साहब वो आ गया है, एक लेडी को लेके आया है. बोला ओके. मैं, I didn't waste time. I said stand by, go. I got in front of him, one shot between his eyes and he was down. And when I shot him, my legs, even now when I am talking, my legs are trembling actually, shivering. उस वक्त भी मेरा ऐसे हो रहा था, क्योंकि I had kept the alignment. उसने मेरे को गाइड कर रहा था alignment, a minor correction, क्योंकि उधर में और कहीं मारता उसको, तो उसको चांस था मारने का. The sure shot, उसको I have to kill him means I have to shoot him right between his eyes. खोपड़ी में मारना था. I blew off his head and luck ने भी साथ दिया, and he just fell down there, and the lady also fell. बोला, लेडी को क्या हो गया भाई? But she fell because of the shock, क्योंकि वो ठाड़ करके लगा, and he fell down. वो आवाज भी आई and she fell down. Well, anyway, ऐसे then that Durga Prasad is just, I was crying. Dada, I was crying. You held me and we just got down. वो मेरे को नीचे ढकेल दिया, मेरे साथ लेट गए. वो ऐसे कर दिया साहब, कर दिया. मैं बोला, सही आदमी मारा है ना. उस वक्त बोला, सही आदमी मारा है. बोला, साहब मार दिया सर, बस ठीक है. क्योंकि उतना ही टाइम था, फ्रैक्शन ऑफ सेकंड, नीचे आना, एक गोली मारना और खोपड़ी में खम ढाम. अगर मैं थोड़ा सा भी डिले करता तो उसने मेरे को मारना था. That was the thing. And वो इसलिए आज मैं सामने खड़ा हूँ स्टोरी बताने के लिए. Anyway, फिर उसके बाद सर्च ऑपरेशन वगैरह हुआ. फिर मेरे को वो तब तक ना मेरे को ना चक्कर आने लगे थी, ब्लीडिंगनेस आ गई थी. There was a internal bleeding. I had a clot here, blood clot आ गया था. Then I was evacuated and taken to RR hospital, our research and referral hospital at Delhi में. तो I was flown from Ahmedabad to Delhi. Anyway, इसके बाद यहाँ पर पूरा operations, clean up operation, mopping up हुआ. We got so much of ammunition with from them, 12 to 15 magazines. Magazine होता है जिसमें ammunition भरते हैं. Too tied to each other. ऐसे 12 sets, 24 magazines we got, full magazines. Then grenades, वो खजूर, dry fruits, ये सब लेके आए थे. Because they wanted to keep the hostages for next 3-4 days. And when we searched this thing, we got some incriminating documents. एक गुजराती में लिखा था, एक उर्दू में लिखा था. In that, we got it translated. We came to know that this thing was Godhara's revenge. Godhara had happened in March, April in 2002, and this happened in September 2002. So from there we learned that it was a revenge for Godhara. This is how the operation Akshardham was carried out, and later on I and Surjan Singh, I want to tell you about Surjan Singh Bhandari. वो गया, he was in the hospital for 1.5 years in Ahmedabad hospital in coma. That was up 6 months after when I was keeping a track of his health. He used to just move his finger, that is all. And he was like a vegetable for me. तब मैं सोच रहा था मैंने उसको क्यों बचाया, तब मैं सोच रहा था मैं क्यों बचाया उसको, मैं उसको बचाता नहीं तो शांति से वो चला गया होता. Now because of him, उसके parents, he was not married, and उसके parents को तकलीफ हो रही थी, उसको तो कुछ पता ही नहीं था बेचारे को, बट मेरे को ये लगता था मैंने क्यों बचाया. पर उस वक्त ये हम सोचते नहीं ना, I want my boy, my buddy to revive. मैं चाहता था वो ठीक हो जाए. उसने सांस भी ली थी, उसमें मैंने उसको सांस देकर उसको इवैक्यूएट किया, पर तब ऐसा लगता था अगर मैं नहीं करता तो वो शांति से चला गया होता. Anyway, after 1.5 years, he succumbed. He was awarded with Kirti Chakra, and I was awarded with Shaurya Chakra and Sena Medal. So this is how it is. So few lessons which actually learned from that. Now the importance of training. Now I had trained myself so well in this. अगर मैं अपने training ढंग से नहीं करता तो it wouldn't have been possible. It again, if I strike parallel with the students, I want you guys to study. Don't be like me. ये पढ़ाई में अच्छे नहीं है, पढ़ाई में अच्छे रहो और सब में का पाओ. You should be all rounder. जब मैडम ने बोला था inadequacy, the fear of inadequacy, ये हमेशा डर होना चाहिए. साला भी कम है और कम है, जो मैं पढ़ रहा हूँ कम है, मेरा नॉलेज कम है. You will learn more. Then commitment. एक बार commit कर दिया तो फिर मैं अपने आप की भी नहीं सुनता. किसने बोला होगा, किसी बड़े आदमी ने. तो मैं जब अगर मैं कमिट करता हूँ तो मैं अपने आप की भी नहीं सुनता. So that commitment in life has to be there. Then the focus, what you want to achieve in your life, focus on that, and your endeavor should be towards that. उसकी कोशिश करो. Focus हमेशा. मोबाइल ठीक है, अब now you are all grown up guys. अभी मैं बच्चों को बोलता था, मैं बोला मोबाइल को हाथ मत लगाओ. मैं आप लोगों को बोल नहीं सकता वो, पर समझदारी से यूज करो. Endurance, mental strength, mental stress. Stress is, there has to be stress in life a bit. You call it as positive stress. अगर stress नहीं होगा तो you won't achieve. बट इतना भी नहीं होना चाहिए कि ओवरबोर्ड हो जाए कि ना तुम अपने आप को नुकसान करो. ऐसा कुछ नहीं होना चाहिए. देन यू आर अ लीडर, एंड लीडरशिप के बारे में अभी हमने बात काफ़ी कर ली है, सो आई डोंट हैव टू थिंक. फियर इज अ ह्यूमन फैक्टर. मैं फौज में था, कमांडो एंड व्हाट नॉट, बट डर तो मुझे भी लग रहा था, क्योंकि ये भी किसी बड़े आदमी ने कहा है कि डर के आगे जीत है. ये भी किसी बड़े आदमी ने कहा है, बट जिसने भी कहा है और सही कहा है. दैट इज व्हाट द ट्रेनिंग. हमारे जो ट्रेनिंग है वो हमको ये डर तो हमको भी लगता है, डर को ओवरकम करना है और वो हमने फेस पे नहीं आने देना है. दैट इज व्हाट द लीडरशिप की क्वालिटी है. कीप कूल इन एडवर्स सिचुएशन. इस ऑपरेशन में ऐसे हालात थे जब आई हैड टू एक्चुअली कीप माई सेल्फ कूल. क्या करना है. फिर देन आई प्लान फॉर द आई वेंट आफ्टर प्लानिंग विथ कूल हेड, आई प्लान द ऑपरेशन फॉर द सेकेंड टेररिस्ट. सो एडवर्स सिचुएशन में कभी ये मत करो कि ना, डोंट पैनिक, जस्ट कीप कूल, यू विल फाइंड द सॉल्यूशन. एंड just keep nation first always. Nation first को हमेशा keep your nation first. Like man, the ladies are just, they were speaking, we are good in all fields, technology, studies, our foundation is strong, our economy is going straight, so our nation is doing good. And last but not least, learn to be happy. देखो हैप्पी रहना, ये हैप्पी रहना ना, ये हैबिट होनी चाहिए. Inculcate that habit to remain happy. तकलीफ होती है. I will tell you one small incident. Academy में, IMA में, there is a Indian Military Academy in Dehradun. वहाँ पर ना एक पनिशमेंट होता है, सेशन होता है, जो सीनियर्स ना जूनियर, जो हम कॉलेज में रैगिंग बोलते हैं ना, हमारी रैगिंग अगर उसको रैगिंग बोलते हैं, अगर वो सेशन कॉलेज में है तो कॉलेज में एडमिशन ही बंद हो जाएगा. तो उसको हम लोग सेशंस बोलते हैं. तो जो सीनियर टर्म वाले होते हैं वो जूनियर टर्म को, बिकॉज टू मेक हिम मेंटली स्ट्रॉन्ग. तो हमारे देहरादून के IMA से, इंडियन मिलिट्री एकेडमी से मसूरी के लाइट्स दिखते थे. तो वो क्या करते थे, बाथरूम से ठंडा पानी, दिसंबर का महीना, ठंडा पानी, वहाँ पे सिंटेक्स टैंक होता था क्वाड्रेंगल में, हमारे जहाँ रहते थे उसके क्वाड्रेंगल में. वी यूज्ड टू बी इन शॉर्ट्स, कम इन द सेशंस रिग में, मतलब शॉर्ट्स में आना है एंड सैंडो बनियन में, क्योंकि आगे क्या होना है मालूम है. वो बोले कि ओके, पानी लेते थे, ठंडा पानी ऊपर, एंड स्टार्ट काउंटिंग मसूरी लाइट्स. वो उसको बोलते हैं मसूरी नाइट. एक सेशन होता था, पानी लेके ऊपर डालते थे, और देन पूरे गिले होने के बाद फिर ना उसी कीचड़ में जस्ट कीप रोलिंग. ये सब कब, रात का खाना खाने के बाद, और रोल कर रहे हैं. फिर वहां से इसको बोलते हैं हम साइड रोल. और इसमें क्या है, खाना खा के आया, ये वो उल्टियां हो जाती थी. उसी उल्टी में सब, मतलब मैं बता रहा हूँ, उसी उल्टी में एक दूसरे से, अब किसकी उल्टी किसके मुंह में जा रही थी, मतलब इट इज टू मेक यू टफ, मेंटली टफ. और किसी चीज की घिन, मेरे को आज की तारीख में किसी चीज की घिन नहीं आती. एवरीथिंग इज गुड फॉर मी, एवरीथिंग इज गुड फॉर मी. अगर हम किसी छोटे से बच्चे को बोला ये गंदा है, ये शिट है, चीची है, तो वो उसको बड़े तक, हमारे उम्र तक हमें चीची बोलते रहे. पर बचपन से अगर उसको बोलो ना, नहीं अच्छी चीज है, ये कोई नहीं, उसको बड़े होने के बाद भी लगेगा कि अच्छी चीज है. मतलब उसके दिमाग, आई एम जस्ट टेलिंग यू दिस फैक्ट, कि उसमें हमारे को मेंटली टफ इतना किया होता है. बट अब जब पानी डालते थे ना, आई यूज्ड टू से कि पानी कहाँ ठंडा है, मजा आ रहा है, गरम लग रहा है, मजा आ रहा है, खूब मजा आ रहा है. आई एम टेलिंग यू, बिलीव मी, हमको ठंडी लगती थी. ठंडा पानी पहले में डालते थे, यूं होता है, पर जब डालो ना, और ऐसे छाती अपना खोल के बोला, हाँ क्या मजा आ रहा है, मजा आ रहा है. आपको ठंडा पानी ठंडा नहीं लगेगा, ये याद देख लो कहीं भी. इट इज जस्ट दैट. ये और यही बात इसमें, कोई तकलीफ हो रही है, उसमें भी खुशी लेने की, उसमें भी मजा लेने की सोचो, हैबिट करो. ये तो हैप्पी रहने का ये हैबिट होनी चाहिए. दैट इज ऑल, एंड थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Guys, there is a very important announcement to make. Refreshments would be provided in the pit, and the mess timings are extended till 3 p.m. Thank you, Tushar Joshi sir. Today we stand before you with deep admiration and profound gratitude as we gather to express our heartfelt thanks to Tushar Joshi sir, whose service and sacrifice have left an indelible mark on our hearts and our nation. I would like to call upon stage Satyendra sir and Ajitab sir to give a token of appreciation and felicitate sir with a small memento. So for the final panel of today's event, Entrepreneurship, a Way of Life, Shaping New India, I would like to call Dr. Farzan Ghadiali. Farzan Ghadiali is the chair of Yuva Chair at YI Mumbai Chapter and Senator India for World Business Angel Forum, an affiliated partner of G20, Global Partnership for Financial Inclusion. He is a mentor with Atal Incubation Center, a leading incubation center supported by Government of India. He is on the mentor board of the incubation at IIM Sirmaur. By profession, he is an investment banker and heads the multifamily office. He has a rich experience in the financial services industry in India and overseas. He is a member of the prestigious $1 Million Roundtable Club and Court of the Table and Top of the Table, two of the highest accolades for financial advisors. He is the author of two books, Investing in Turbulent Times and Investing in Turbulent Decade That Was and Beyond. He is a visiting faculty in leading management colleges like SP Jain, Narsim Monji Institute of Management Studies and Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management. Please welcome on stage Dr. Farzan Ghadiali. I would also like to call upon stage other esteemed panel members. Ms. Anshu Desai. She is a civil servant of UPSC 2011 batch, currently working as a Chief Vigilance Officer in Indian Railways. Please welcome on stage Ms. Anshu Desai. We would also like to call upon stage Ms. Geeta Chandna, Managing Partner, GWP. Please welcome Ankit Yogi, Managing Partner, Overseas Traders. And last but not the least, please welcome Mr. Uday Wankawala. He is the CEO of Atal Incubation Center. Thank you, sir. I would like to call upon Dr. Farzan Ghadiali to take over the stage.
Thank you so much. To all the esteemed panelists, please have a seat. Good afternoon to everybody, and a real thank you to all the panelists that have traveled. We have Ankit Yogi, who's come all the way from Hubli, especially for the panel. Thank you Ankit for making this, and we would love to hear from you. We have Geeta ji, who's come all the way from Yamuna Nagar to talk to us, and we will be enlightened by the talk she will give. Sir, we've already heard from you, and thank you for being there. We have Uday ji that is there, Uday Wankawala. He is the CEO of AIC RMP, and indeed I would really say the startup man of India. Anything in incubation, anything on startup advice, Uday ji is the person to really go to. And last but not the least, we have Anshu Desai that is there, a decorated civil servant, and she has over a decade of experience in the Indian Railways, and she will really enlighten us that how the country is changing and how entrepreneurship is really shaping up. How we'll do this is each of the esteemed panelists would come and give a couple of minutes. They would really give certain sermons for entrepreneurship that they have really experienced in their journey so far. Each of these panelists have been in business for a very long period of time, and they would probably tell the students what should be done and how things are really changing. I would request Ankit Yogi, a warm welcome to Ankit Yogi. How many of you play guitar here? Okay, so Ankit Yogi is a third generation entrepreneur. His company has been there for about 4 decades, and all the wood that goes in the guitar in most international companies is provided from overseas traders where he's a proprietor. Okay, so Ankit, we would love to hear the musical words from you, how you really shaped up, and if you could enlighten us with certain words, please. Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you. So yeah, like Sir said, I'm the third generation in the family business, and so I've been honored to given that platform from my father and grandfather, and so I'm just carrying it forward. And so entrepreneurship is a journey that involves continuous learning and also adaptation, because the learning that you get through entrepreneurship is unlike anything that you get in the schools or colleges, because the business will throw at you so many aspects that you can learn from. I mean, and it continuously evolves. You have to adopt to those changes, and it's probably one of the best learnings that you can get. I mean, when a new generation is entering an established business, it's the first thing would be important would be to stabilize or learn from that current situation. I mean, if you're doing too many rapid changes instantly, they would not be accepted so well. So you have to probably stabilize, understand the situation, and then come up with things that need a change. And then once it's stabilized, you can also look at growing, diversifying, because the old saying that you can't put all the eggs in one basket, so you can even look at product diversification or even business diversification if there's an opportunity. But that's what the new generation should keep doing. And being from a Gujil family, so granddad used to take us to the log auctions from an early age. So that's also important because the learning starts from very early. Doesn't matter what you're pursuing in your studies or anything, but the business, what it teaches you. So if it starts at an early age, it will remain with you for a very long time. And so even dad then had inculcated that, and then so when we go for inspection of the material, we had different comments that he would make. Even I would make different comments, so then we would compare and then do the introspection and all that. So that way again you keep learning. We had an established business that used to use timber for, we still do use timber for a very long time. But now we've created a platform so that we can even address environmental goals. So since we've been taking rosewood from the environment for so long, we thought it is time to give back to the nature through the Aranya Niran Rosewood Foundation. So we just created that. And it takes 100 years for the rosewood tree to mature. And when we passed on that idea to the forest department or to agroforestry models, they said that it's a foolish idea that you're giving away such a piece of land just for the growing of rosewood trees, since it takes so long. But it's due to the legacy that we have that we thought that we have to give back, and this is the opportunity to give back to the nature. And that's about my story.
Thank you.
So very interesting. I mean, when Ankit really mentioned that the rosewood takes 100 years to mature. So you plant today not for yourself, but probably 3 generations down the line. So when I had the opportunity of interacting with Ankit, and as the forest department said that what are you doing? It doesn't make sense because you will not even live to see the tree. But that's the dedication probably the family has in terms of giving back to society, giving back to the environment that is really there. Ankit, thank you so much. And I hope the foundation does very, very well. Now I would request Geeta Madam to please felicitate us with her speech. She would talk on really spirituality in entrepreneurship. Also, I had the opportunity of hearing her. She's a very significant part of the San Nirankar Charitable Foundation. When I visited Yamunanagar, I had the opportunity. It was a very hectic day. It was like, I've always been a finance person, number crunching, this, that, exhausted. I happened to hear her for about half an hour, and it was really de-stressing. I mean, and she spoke about giving back to society, happiness, because what people really chase, like all of you guys in the MBA class would chase probably highest C2C, but we are not talking about overall happiness. So how do we create that balance between entrepreneurship and happiness is something that Madam would really enlighten us with. Madam, please, if you could speak for a couple of minutes and help us all with that.
Good afternoon to all of you. यहाँ आज इस रूप में आकर बहुत खुशी का अनुभव हो रहा है और थैंक्स देना चाहूँगी डॉक्टर फरजान का और यहाँ की मैनेजमेंट टीम का इस इवेंट की जिन्होंने ये मौका दिया है आप सबसे इंटरैक्ट करने का और साथ ही साथ ये सारे लर्निंग प्लेसेस बहुत कुछ सीखने का भी और अपने भी कुछ थॉट्स को शेयर करने का ये मौका दिया है। तो बात यही कि जीवन का जो सफ़र बहुत सारा गुजर चुका है और जो आगे आने वाला भी है उसमें बहुत सारे ट्रांजिशनल फेजेस रहे, बहुत सारे उतार चढ़ाव रहे, सुख दुख के पल रहे। पर मैं ये कहना चाहूँगी कि बचपन से ही एक स्पिरिचुअल इंक्लिनेशन होने की वजह से ये तय रहा, ये मन में विश्वास रहा कि जो भी हो रहा है वो सब ईश्वर की मर्जी से हो रहा है और हमारी भलाई के लिए ही हो रहा है, सब चीज़ें उसके कंट्रोल में हैं। तो इसी फीलिंग के साथ जो भी परेशानी या कुछ तकलीफ़ आई भी तो वो कभी महसूस नहीं हुआ, वो पल बहुत पॉजिटिव वे में निकल गए आगे और जीवन आगे चलता रहा। और इंसान की ये दुविधा है कि उसके पास जो कुछ भी होता है उसकी तरफ ध्यान नहीं जाता। जो भी हमारे को रिसोर्सेज मिले होते हैं हम उसके लिए सोचते ही नहीं कि ईश्वर ने हमें इतना कुछ दिया हुआ है। पर जो कुछ नहीं होता, जो कुछ हमारा मन चाह रहा होता है और वो हमें नहीं मिलता, तो उसके लिए जो ये हमारा मन बहुत परेशान हो जाता है, शिकायतें करने लग जाता है, ईश्वर से नाराज़गी दिखाने लग जाता है और एक डिप्रेसिव स्टेट में चला जाता है। जबकि बहुत कुछ ऐसा है जिसके लिए थैंकफुल हुआ जा सके। और एक एग्जांपल देना चाहूँगी कि एक वर्ल्ड चैम्पियन, लॉन टेनिस के वर्ल्ड चैम्पियन जो पर्सन थे, उनको एक बहुत गंभीर बीमारी हो गई, ऐसी बीमारी कि जिसका इलाज पॉसिबल नहीं था। तो डॉक्टर्स ने उनको बोल दिया कि अब आपके जीवन के कुछ दिन ही बाकी रह गए हैं। ही वॉज इन द हॉस्पिटल। उसको विज़िट करने उनका एक फ्रेंड आता है और उसको कहता है कि ईश्वर ने तो बहुत नाइंसाफ़ी कर दी आपके साथ। आप तो इस वक्त सफलता की ऊंचाइयों को छू रहे हैं, इतना इंजॉय कर रहे हैं पॉपुलैरिटी, स्टारडम, तो ये आपके साथ क्यों किया भगवान ने? ये कुछ अच्छा नहीं हुआ। तो आगे से वो जो क्रिकेट जो ये प्लेयर थे, लॉन टेनिस प्लेयर जो वर्ल्ड चैम्पियन थे, उन्होंने कहा कि इस दुनिया में करोड़ों की संख्या है, उस करोड़ों की संख्या में देयर आर फ्यू लैक्स हु हैव हर्ड द नेम ऑफ लॉन टेनिस, और उसमें से कुछ सैकड़ों, कुछ हंड्रेड्स ही अपनी कंट्रीज़, अपनी स्टेट्स को रिप्रेजेंट कर पाते हैं। और फिर फाइनली सेमीफाइनल मैचेस तक आते आते केवल चार लोग रह जाते हैं और फिर फाइनल में 2, और एक जो विनर होता है पूरे वर्ल्ड में सिर्फ करोड़ों में से सिर्फ एक इंसान, और वो इंसान मैं 4 बार बना। उस वक्त तो मैंने नहीं सोचा कि ईश्वर ने मेरे को ही क्यों वर्ल्ड चैम्पियन बनाया। इतने करोड़ों लोग थे और भी मेरे से भी अच्छा जानने, अच्छा खेलने वाले भी हो सकते थे, पर मेरे को ये मौका दिया ईश्वर ने जीवन में। तो अभी अगर जीवन में मेरे ये दुख आया है तो मेरे को ये शिकायत नहीं करनी चाहिए ईश्वर से, आई शुड एक्सेप्ट इट। तो ये जो फीलिंग ऑफ ग्रैटिट्यूड है जो हमें मिलता है और जो हम एक्सेप्टेंस देते हैं, कुछ तकलीफ़ आती है, हमारी मर्ज़ी से चीज़ें नहीं हो पाती हैं, तो उसके लिए जो एक्सेप्टेंस होती है, अगर हम इन वैल्यूज़ को अपने लाइफ में ले लेते हैं तो हमारी लाइफ बहुत इजी हो जाती है, कॉम्प्लिकेशंस नहीं फील होती। नहीं तो हम छोटी छोटी चीज़ों को इतना कॉम्प्लिकेट कर लेते हैं। आजकल के यूथ में तो ये मेरे को बहुत देखने को मिलता है कि बहुत छोटे फैक्टर्स को बहुत परेशानी का कारण बना लेते हैं और कंपैरिजन डिग्री बहुत ज़्यादा है, उसके पास ये है, मेरे पास ये नहीं, मैं ये अचीव नहीं कर पाया। तो जो ये थैंकफुलनेस, ग्रैटिट्यूड है, इसको हमें अपनी लाइफ का बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट एक फैक्टर बनाना है। और एक और कोट मैंने पढ़ा कि डोंट ओपन अ शॉप अनलेस यू लर्न हाउ टू स्माइल। अगर आपको ये नहीं पता कि आपने स्माइल कैसे करना है तो अपनी शॉप, अपना बिजनेस मत खोलो। तो इसके लिए भी एक एग्जाम्पल ध्यान में आ रहा है कि एक सुपरवाइज़र एक आइस बनाने की फैक्ट्री में वर्क करते थे और एक शाम जब छुट्टी होने वाली थी इवनिंग में, तो वो सुपरवाइज़र जो फ्रीजिंग यूनिट होता है उसके अंदर चेकअप के लिए चले गए कि मैं देख के आऊँ सब ठीक है। जैसे ही वो अंदर गए तो किसी ने बाहर से दरवाजे को लॉक कर दिया। अब वो इस फ्रीजिंग यूनिट में अंदर हैं और उस टेम्परेचर को फील करते हुए वो सोच रहे हैं कि अब तो मेरे जीवन के मैक्सिमम 1 या 1.5 घंटा ही रह गया है, क्योंकि मेरे को कोई खोलने आएगा नहीं, सबकी छुट्टी हो गई है और मैं यहाँ पर इस टेम्परेचर को बर्दाश्त नहीं कर पाऊँगा। और वो प्रेयर करने लग जाते हैं कि अगर मैंने जीवन में कुछ भी अच्छा काम किया तो भगवान मेरी मदद करो, कौन मेरे बच्चे को, मेरी बीवी को देखेगा, देयर इज़ नोबडी टू अर्न इन द फैमिली। तो अभी वो कुछ अनकॉन्शियस हो ही रहे होते हैं, तो उनको एक दरवाजे पर खटखटाहट सुनाई देती है और एक वो ब्लर्ड विजन में उनको अपनी बिल्डिंग का चौकीदार दिखाई देता है, और वो चौकीदार उसको ड्रैग करके उनको बाहर निकालता है, एक हीटर के आगे रखता है, एंड ही रिगेन्ड हिज कॉन्शियसनेस। और जैसे ही होश आता है वो पूछते हैं चौकीदार से कि आप मेरे पास कैसे आ गए, आपको कैसे पता चला कि मैं यहाँ हो सकता हूँ। तो आगे से जो चौकीदार ने जवाब दिया, उसने कहा कि इस बिल्डिंग में सैकड़ों लोग काम करने के लिए आते हैं और उसमें से ज़्यादातर तो पता देखते भी नहीं कि मैं खड़ा हुआ हूँ, मेरी एग्जिस्टेंस को, मेरी आइडेंटिटी को वो फील भी नहीं करते। लेकिन आप जब भी रोज आते हैं, सुबह मेरे को एक बहुत प्यारी सी स्माइल देते हैं, मेरा हालचाल पूछते हैं, और जब आपकी छुट्टी होती है आप वापस जाते हैं तब भी मेरे को बहुत प्यार से कहते हैं काका राम राम, आपका दिन कैसा रहा। तो आपकी वो ग्रीटिंग्स, आपका वो प्यार देखकर मेरा दिन भर की थकावट दूर हो जाती है। तो मैं आज की शाम आपकी वो जो ग्रीटिंग्स थी, उस स्माइल को मिस कर रहा था, तो मैं आपको ढूंढते हुए यहाँ तक आ गया। तो सी दिस इज़ द पावर ऑफ स्माइल। अगर आप कंपैशनेट होते हैं, अपने आसपास वाले लोगों के साथ प्यार से पेश आते हैं, तो आपको नहीं पता कि वो कैसा मार्क छोड़ता है आपकी पर्सनैलिटी के बारे में, और आपकी लाइफ आपके लिए कैसी फ्रेगरेंस आती है लोगों को कि ये ऐसी पर्सनैलिटी है। तो जब भी कोई आप एंटरप्रेन्योर बैठे हैं, वुड बी एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हैं, कोई एंटरप्राइज खोलने का सोचे, तो हमेशा ये जो मानवीय गुण है, स्माइल देना, प्यार करना, कंपैशनेट होना, इसको अपनी लाइफ का पार्ट आप सब ने बहुत ज़रूर बनाना है। और एक बहुत पॉपुलर हिंदी मूवी 3 इडियट्स में हमने सुना, जो वन ऑफ द हीरो ही केप्ट सेइंग, अगर वो अपने फ्रेंड्स को एंग्शियस देखता है या बहुत परेशान देखता है, तो वो कहता है कि अपने दिल पर हाथ रख के कहो ऑल इज़ वेल, ऑल इज़ वेल, तो सब ठीक हो जाएगा। तो मेरे को ऐसा लगता है वी शुड से ऑल इज़ विल, ऑल इज़ विल, कि जो इस ईश्वर की विल है, जो इसकी मर्जी है, सब कुछ यही है। अगर हमारी ये फीलिंग रहेगी तो हम बहुत आसानी से जो लाइफ में चेंजेस आते हैं, अप डाउन्स आते हैं, जो हमारी मर्जी के मुताबिक काम नहीं होता, उसके लिए हमारी एक्सेप्टेंस हो जाएगी। एंड ऑलवेज हैव गॉडफिडेंस इन यू। कॉन्फिडेंस तो है ही है, कॉन्फिडेंस के बिना तो कोई काम नहीं हो सकता, बट इफ़ वी हैव गॉडफिडेंस दैट गॉड इज़ विद अस, अगर ईश्वर हमारे साथ है तो डरने की क्या बात है। तो ये कॉन्फिडेंस अगर हमारे साथ रहेगा तो हम अपने लाइफ में बिना किसी डर के हम सारे बहुत आगे बढ़ सकते हैं। नाउ आई वुड लाइक टू प्रे फॉर यू, एंड आई वुड wish that all of you have a very bright career, very bright future, and you keep spreading the warmth of your love among the fellow people. And there is another quote I've read, that some people look for beautiful places while others make the places beautiful. So let us all fall in that category of making the places beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gita ji. Beautiful, very well said. That ये competitive in this competition की दुनिया में 98, 99 में कोई फर्क नहीं होता है. But what is important is, happiness. That is very, very important and very well articulated. Thank you so much. Next, I would request Uday Wankawala, Uday ji, if you can enlighten us with a few words. Entrepreneurship is a way of life. A lot of people, a lot of you students, 10 years back would probably go for a job, but a large population probably really goes for entrepreneurship. And Udayji leads one of the India's best incubation centers, and I'm sure his pearls of wisdom as far as incubation, entrepreneurship and startup is there will really help all of you. Udayji, all.
much, Farzan sir. Thanks a lot to the Y20 team. It's a wonderful platform. The most important part out here, as you can see, is shaping New India, right? I mean, we are talking about New India. We are talking about how we can transform India. There have been instances wherein we have spoken about, and we are speaking about Amrit Kal 2047. I think at this particular moment, यहाँ पे जो बैठे हुए हैं और जो अपने students community है, youth है, by the time once they would reach 2047, we would see a great new India shaping up, and that's where entrepreneurs will play a wonderful role. I always say, in fact, मुझे जब भी तुषार जी बता रहे थे उनके speech में, मैंने बोला ये entrepreneurship is just like your war room, right? आप जब भी war में जाते हो तभी आपको enemy का पता नहीं है. यहाँ पे जब भी आप entrepreneurship में जाते हो, as a founder, you don't know what is it that's going to come next. So I always say that first and foremost, it's very important as an entrepreneur to understand yourself. That is, what are your strengths? Unfortunately, in our education system, most of the times we have been told कि अगर 80 grade आए या 85 marks आए तो आपको बोलते हैं ये 20 या 15 marks कहाँ पे गए. I always say entrepreneurship is all about finding that 80, 85. बाकी वाले आपके co-founders या complementary skill sets, team members लेके आएंगे, so you don't have to worry about it. The second part is we are not used to listen to fear of, so we have this fear of failure, right? We are not used to listen to no. Most of the times, in our family, in our friends, in our businesses as well, ना बोला तो आप वो वापस try नहीं करते हो. Rather, entrepreneurship is all about that. You keep on trying. You need to improve, but at the same point of time, you need to listen to your customers. You need to listen to your investors. You need to listen to the ecosystem and say whether that's working out or not, और कितना जल्दी आप pivot कर सकते हो या कितना जल्दी आप उसको next reality में shape up कर सकते हो. So if you have this particular mindset, so it's all about mindset as well. I think that's very important in a way कि अगर आपके पास positive mindset है, if you have this urge of challenging the status quo, then become an entrepreneur. And let me tell you, it's not about when you build an enterprise, that's entrepreneurship, but it's not always about becoming an entrepreneur. In your life as well, you could take up that role, and you should be a leader. So I at times say that the politicians, at times even the people that are leading the country, they are also entrepreneurs in a way that they are taking that particular decisions. So sir जब भी बता रहे थे, मैंने बोला decision making. उन्होंने बोला आपके पास 1 second है, shot लेना है, नहीं लेना है, target क्या है, that is what entrepreneurship is all about. At times you would get into a stage wherein people would say कि हाँ ठीक है, we are ready to buy this. Do you have that much of confidence and that much of decision making at that point of time to quote what is it that's possible for both of you as a win-win proposition? So I always say decision making, that's very important in your journey. The articulation, the focus, very, very important. And there are, I'm sure you would have heard of 4 W's and 1 H. That's normally why, what, when, where and how. मैं हमेशा बोलता हूँ अगर आपकी entrepreneurial journey में आपने why और how ये दोनों अगर figure out किया है, बाकी चीज़ you'll be able to figure it out on your own. So what is important, you would start as a founder, as an entrepreneur, then there is a process, we call it as entrepreneurship, and then you would build an enterprise. So it's a journey, friends, it's a marathon, it's not a 100-meter sprint. So if you are ready to do it, I think take it up. If not, then it's good to enjoy that journey which others are doing, be a part of those journey through internship or by working with entrepreneurs. I think you can contribute a lot. और 2 चीज़ मैं बोलना चाहूँगा यहाँ पे जो हम सुबह से सुन रहे हैं शायद, giving back and contribution. हमारे एजुकेशन सिस्टम में वही है कि एज एन इंडिविजुअली आपने कितना स्कोर किया है. एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप इज ऑल अबाउट वर्किंग इन अ टीम एंड गिविंग बैक. व्हाट इज इट दैट यू कैन गिव बैक टू द सोसाइटी, कंट्रीब्यूट. वो एक आप पर्सपेक्टिव ध्यान में रखिएगा. सर ने बोला डूज एंड डोंट्स. आई थिंक सर सेड डूज, आई सेड मोर देन द डूज इट्स द डोंट्स. यू शुड नो what are the don'ts, what are the things that you won't do as an entrepreneur. I call it as that's very important in your journey. I call it as non-negotiables. आप क्या नहीं करोगे वो आपके लिए जानना बहुत ज़रूरी है, ना कि आप क्या करोगे. And last but not the least, जो मैडम ने बताया, please understand
Thank you, Odessa, for those wonderful words. I'm sure with this inspiration, a few of the students here will embark upon a journey of entrepreneurship, and they will come to you, and I'm sure that you will be more than happy to help them. Now, I would request Anshu Desai. Anshu, madam, please, if you could enlighten us with a few words. She's been a part of the Indian Railways. One thing that is really we use in our everyday journey, and how is really India shaped, and in what way are we really looking at the public sector contributing to the growth of India? A few words from your side.
Thank you so much, Dr. Farzan. I am Anshu Desai, Indian Railway Account Services Officer, currently posted as Deputy Chief Vigilance Officer with Central Railway. First of all, मुझे आप सब लोगों को बैठ के यहाँ पर बैठे देखकर अपना probation का time याद आ रहा है, because it's not very far, it's just 10 years back. When we would IAS, IPS, all officers would come and train us. But जैसे 2 बजती थी तो realize होता था कोई भी आ रहा हो, but the mind starts thinking कि it's lunch break. So today I'm realizing our situation and yours is not very different, because speaker also doesn't have an option. The speaker has to speak and you have to listen. So it's a great honor to be present with so many young people. So before deciding to come here, I was discussing with my husband, and I was wondering that since the topic is entrepreneurship, a way of life, shaping new India, I mean how my story would relate to it, or how as a government officer I can probably bring anything to this table, and till today also I was not able to figure out. It is just that when I was traveling in the car, I really thought that what is it that we have in common that can be shared. So I want to share my life journey with you all, a glimpse of how I have achieved whatever I have achieved, because be it entrepreneur or you are in the government sector, there is one thing which is that you should never give up. And when I will narrate my story of how I have achieved things in my life, it is definitely about that. And the sector could be anywhere, be it entrepreneur or be it a government servant. If you learn this thing to never give up, you can achieve anything what you want. So since my childhood, I wanted to be in the government sector. And how this idea came to my mind is when we were small, very young, like 20 years down the line, we used to visit, many government offices. And while interacting with those people, I would always think that there is so much, one decision of that officer impacts so many things. And since then, I decided that I want to be in the government sector, and I want to be an officer. And when after completing my 12th and after completing my engineering degree, I thought that to clear this exam, studies is what will be required. But trust me, studies is just a very, very, very small part of this journey. Studies, yes, UPSC civil services examination, you all must have heard about it, and it does require very, very rigorous studies. But over a period of time, after clearing that exam, I have realized that it is not just the studies. It requires a lot of patience, dedication, and focus. And most important, mental capacity, to deal with the uncertainty, because no matter how much you prepare for this exam, there are chances that you will not clear it. So that mental strength has to be there to come to terms with it, because after you come out of this cycle of exams, the outside world completely changes for you. Your batchmates would be working in some great companies, they would be earning a lot, and you, in comparison to them, you would be nowhere. So this particular thought itself is very defeating. But if you overcome that thought, I think there is lots which you can achieve. So I will just quickly brief you about how I have gone about it. So after my engineering degree, I started preparing for the civil services exam. But being from a very small place, I belong to Mahu. It's military headquarters of war in Indore. It's a small place, important in its own perspective. But it was not very resourceful for preparing for this exam. And while I had just graduated, I thought that in order to make ends meet financially, I will teach also, and I will join some job, and accordingly I will prepare for the exam. But sooner I realized that it is not possible. Like, if you try to do too many things at one time, it is possible that you will not achieve what you finally want to achieve. So focus is very important. So I gave up the job. I decided to dedicate myself to prepare for this exam. I went to Delhi. I joined my classes. But being from a small place, again, Delhi being a very big place, and it has its own challenges. So I decided to came back home, and thought that I will prepare from home only now. And I kept studying. So as I was saying, that focus is important. But there are certain times when there are things which are not in your control. Years passed by. So I passed my engineering in 2003 and appeared for exam in 4 and 5. I did not clear. So to an extent, sir, it relates to your story, complete failures. Yeah, Union Public Service Commission. So like, I failed twice. There was no hope that I will clear this exam now. I got married in 2007. And when I came to Mumbai, that city is so fast-paced that I thought that it is just impossible, to study along with the job. So it was in 2007 that I got married. Then I worked in the private sector for a few years. Despite me having a focus, the chain of events which happened in life was such that that focus, just went by. And I thought that now it is just not possible to achieve that. And let me just continue with my job, what I have got. But the family support and everyone, they kept telling me that it is your potential and you should appear for the exams once again. And it is in 2010, I appeared again after 5 years of marriage, still did not clear it. Then 2011, I again appeared for the exam, and that is the year when I cleared my, UPSC exam. So, there are many things which are involved, in achieving things. Focus is one important thing which has to be there. And apart from the focus, you have to continuously change yourself, adapt yourself, to what is happening around you. But that doesn't mean that you leave what you want to achieve. So never think that if something has happened in your life, you might have to give up on what you want to achieve. So always have that in your mind. And I'm 100% sure that you will also achieve what you all are passionate about. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Madam, for the pearls of wisdom from your side, and I'm sure this GERT to succeed in examination is something that the students are looking for. With this, we would start with the panel discussion, and in the panel discussion, we would really we would really look at, one thing is, what does entrepreneurship mean? And what is the success mantra? So if we could start with Ankit, if you could say really, what does entrepreneurship really mean to you? And what are the success mantras that you feel are required for any entrepreneur really to be successful? Because you are a third generation entrepreneur. You have a lovely family. You stay in a small place, relatively small place, Hubli, which is a beautiful city that I visited. What does it mean to you?
Yeah, so like I said, I mean it's a continuous journey. Entrepreneurship cannot be something like somebody pointed out. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So you have to learn to change, learn to adapt, and it's a continuous journey. And so the success mantra would be that you have to, if you get too comfortable being where you are, you would not expand into what's happening outside of your circle. So you have to step out of your comfort zone to learn, to change, and because if you get too comfortable, you would not look at growth, you would not look at diversification, and you would just be still. So standing still, even physically, is, as you know, it's not good. So I mean, you have to keep moving, and that holds true for entrepreneurship, for any journey. So you have to keep moving, you have to keep progressing. So that's part of the success formula, because if you stay still, you would lose the race, because you have to keep progressing, you have to innovate, you have to do some research, and then keep progressing where you are. So that.
So Uncle, why don't you, tell the audience, your association with Martin's guitar? I mean, it's a 3-generation association. I mean, for all the students, Martins are world's best guitars that is there. They've been supplying to Martins for 3 generations. What are your learnings from there? They are from the US, you're from India. How did that collaboration happen? How have you managed to keep this relationship for three generations now?
Yeah, so I mean, very fortunate because of the family, because of my grandfather, because he keeps traveling from a very early age. So he continuously kept traveling, and then back in the old days, this is back in 60s. So back in 60s, there used to be hardly few people traveling the world. So he used to go up to Chamber of Commerce in New York, and then he used to inquire about new businesses every day, because back in those days nobody used to travel. So we were from a small town. So everyone in that town asked him that, you inquire about this business, get me some information. But even the guy at the Chamber of Commerce got fed up. He's like, how can somebody keep asking so many businesses, what's your core business? So he said, I'm a wood person. So he said, you should have told me earlier, because I have a strong connect in the wood business. So that's how he introduced us to a supplier who was supplying wood to Martin Guitars. And then, so even that has been ongoing for 3 generations, and the purchase officer who's still in touch with us is also seen 3 people change the hierarchy in the business.
Very interesting.
And we keep visiting. They have a tree there that's been put in my granddad's name, just to, respect his all that he's done for the company. So it's a very long relationship, like a family that's been with us. So it's a lot of learning through them, because they keep coming to us, we keep visiting them, and then we learn a lot through that process.
That's really insightful. Geeta Madam, over to you. Just want to understand entrepreneurship. She comes from a veneer business. They have a brand called CP Veneers. It's a male-dominated industry. आप एक very small town से है, where it's difficult to stay, difficult to do business. आपका क्या है success mantra? Because a lot of people here are from various parts of India. They have come to Bombay for this valuable education. उन्हें पता नहीं है बॉम्बे में रहना है कि वापस जाना है, क्या करना है? What is your advice इनके लिए?
To me, this entrepreneurship, I would love to compare it with a prism, like in a prism, when a ray of sunlight, it passes through it, it gets refracted to a beautiful spectrum. So that is how an entrepreneur, he keep giving the skills, his own value system, his monetary gain to all his employees and all the people associated with him, or how So it is, entrepreneurship is a process of giving. It's not a self-centric process just related to one person. It's also a process of giving, just as our learned guest was mentioning, that it is, you must know how to give. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you must know, you must ask a question, ponder it, that would like to share my things. Only then you could be an entrepreneur. And regarding about the small place, actually I have been to birth and brought up, and my studies all from Delhi, but by chance we have to shift to Yamunanagar because Delhi mein factories close ho rahi thi, band ho rahi thi. But the thing is, if you have love for your work, you can sustain anywhere. And again the same thing, that if you agree to the will of God, you will say that this is a new chapter in our life. Let us read it and let us try to have success in this also. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. It's very insightful. I mean, be content and make the maximum. As she said, don't look for the best house. Make your house the best place to be. Udayji, you look at young aspiring entrepreneurs every day. People want to become entrepreneurs. You do help them in more than one way, with funds, with advice, with mentorship. What is entrepreneurship, and what, according to you, are a few mantras of success that you think that the young India should follow for entrepreneurship to be successful?
Can you hear me? So, good question. I think entrepreneurship, as I said, that's like, it's part of our topic as well. It's a way of life, right? I mean, you don't have to be an entrepreneur all the time, or rather, you are an entrepreneur all the time when you are managing things, when you are working on different things. But yeah, when you set up a business, when you set up an enterprise, that's where it's called as a way of life, wherein you would follow those specific processes and then understand it more to build an enterprise. And that's what I always say, that it's important that you follow the processes and the outcomes will be there, and that's where the success will follow. I won't say there is any mantra to success or mantra to entrepreneurship success as such, but very, very important, I always say that what makes you happy as an entrepreneur, that's very important. That has to be the fundamental. The second, and that's where the purpose will come in. Most of the times, when we do this, I used to address a lot of college students earlier, and I used to ask them, "Aapko job क्यों नहीं करना है? आपको entrepreneur क्यों बनना है?" And they used to say, 9 से 5 job नहीं करना है. I can't. I don't want to listen to my bosses. I want to earn huge money, make money. I said these are all wrong reasons, because what really happens is that if your objective is not to do 9 to 5, then जब भी आप entrepreneur बनोगे, आप 365 days काम करोगे. You would work 18 hours in a day. आप जब भी बोल रहे हो कि मुझे बॉस का नहीं सुनना है, जब भी आप entrepreneur बनोगे as a solo founder, when you start your journey and when you hire your first person, you are going to report to that person. It's the other way around. And the third part is, it's very important that what is the purpose that you are really taking up. For someone, raising a $1 million could be a success. For someone having 100 clients on board could be a success. Or for someone, I always say this because we cater to most of social entrepreneurs, and we say that even when you see a smile on a face of your end user or a customer, and even if that's one child, that's success for me. So again, I mean, it's very relative, but very, very important for you to know that for what particular purpose you are doing it, and at the same point of time, your purpose will evolve. You would evolve, and the success in a way that आप खुद जितना अपने आप को जानोगे और वो realize करोगे, it's much better. Otherwise, I mean, all these forums, I always say it's like watching a Shah Rukh Khan or a movie wherein you would take those inspirations, and when you go back, go back to your routine life, and you would say, hey, ये जो सुना था ठीक है, but life में बहुत सारे problems हैं. So let's not talk about successes and all. So it's always important that if your fundamentals are right, if your processes are right, and if what you are doing that's serving some purpose, And one thing I would love to add here, and because this is very important for young students, because हमारे पास काफी ऐसे young students projects आते हैं, they try to give something to the market that they are good at. They don't really assess what the market needs are. I think that's very important, what we normally call it as product market fit, and that's where the first step or your journey of success really starts. Jitna jaldi aap samajh sako, and that's where I say it's all about how open you are in terms of how your ears and your mind, kitna jaldi aap adapt kar sakte ho. That is the real fun of being an entrepreneur.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And so I'm over to you. I mean, would love to hear from you that, how do you see India change in this last 1 decade that you've been in government service? And where do you see India go from in the next decade from here? Do you see a transition? Do you see what? I mean, would love to hear your views briefly on it, please.
Yeah, so I do think that there has been a drastic change. As sir said that, in our times, we always used to think that I should get a secure job and, there should be some stability. But there is a complete change now when I interact with, the younger generation. Everyone wants to, create something of their own. So that is something which is a very, very major shift. And in that process of creating something, they are even ready to work harder. Like if you look for a secure job, definitely your life becomes comfortable for that part of time. But if you really want to do something of your own, you can do wonders. So that is a major shift, in thinking. Now, as far as in terms of change in the work culture which has come, I do see the line between the public sector and the private sector is blurring, and it is blurring at a very fast pace. Now there is a complete synergy with which the public and the private sector are working. For instance, for any work of the government, ultimately we are getting it done. We are outsourcing it. So the entrepreneurs who have started manufacturing something, or if they have started something related to technology, that everything is being utilized by the government as well. So there is this complete shift, and this line is definitely changing. And as far as the future is concerned, I am very, very sure that with the participation of both the public and the private sector together, India is going to achieve a lot. It is achieving a lot, but it is going to go at great heights.
Thank you so much. Before we conclude the panel discussion, one, as they say, rapid fire, I would start from you. Let's have one do and one don't for all these aspiring young students who probably are going to take a job or probably start something. Just one do, one don't for, in your experience, that should be there. Madam, with you, please.
Since it's rapid fire, I'll start fast. So it is, follow your passion, please, all of you. There might be times when you will do things which you think that are not meant for you, but still, you have to continue and you have to give focus. Because, if you chase 2 rabbits, I think you'll end up catching that. So this is a famous quote from a book. And one don't, which sir has already mentioned, but I feel that there will be very few takers for that, that is reduce your dependence on technology. In fact, not reduce, you have to use your technology judiciously. You can use this technology to your benefit. I come from a generation, I am a mix of that generation where we had no technology at all, and right now we have all the possible technology. So use it very judiciously, don't get engrossed by it. I feel, many people have created a virtual world around them. So one advice that always be connected to real people.
Perfect, thank you. Udayji, from your side, one quick do, one quick don't.
One quick do, I would say, invest in yourself. That's very important. I think what we are really missing is at times we are talking of ecosystem, we are talking of everyone around us. We are not really investing in what, as a person, as a leader, we really need to do. So that's the do. The don't, I would say, it's always, there is a lot of noise around. There is YouTube, there is Facebook, WhatsApp. you really need to be smart enough and then see exactly. I always say that look at the problems and look at those problems as opportunities, and don't please look at any problem as something that you can't really make a change. I think that's what most of the times we have this habit of cribbing. Don't crib too much. I think if you come out of that habit, that mindset, I think Tusharji also spoke about it. It's all about how you are preparing your mind, right? I mean, if at all. I think at this moment there are a lot of negative vibes. Even social media gives you a lot of those particular buzz, and you said that you are in a pit. That's not the case. I think this is the time for India, and this is the golden period for entrepreneurs in the ecosystem.
Absolutely.
Take up entrepreneurship. That's what I see a lot of students hesitating. And then one of the guys were talking about Flipkarts and Amazons and not making money out of it. I said, please don't listen, or even talking about Byju's. I said, why are you picking up only the negative part of it? Don't ever get into that trap.
Absolutely, absolutely. Guys, one thing only from my side, I would say, be truthful and honest. Your head should be held high. Come what may, don't ever move away from that path. Be truthful, be honest. Success will come. The question is when. But if you move away from honesty, you'll never get successful. Tushar sir, one do and one don't quick from you.
Everyone has taken my point. Okay, now again focus. मछली की आंख देखो बस. And just fire at it. मेहनत करो. Just focus towards it, or you will be successful. Again, they have actually all stole my points actually. No, I got don't be sad. I mean, no.
Be smiling.
नहीं, मैडम ने happy का बोल दिया, तो मैं don't be sad बोला. Because all my points have been covered.
Geeta madam, just do one do please for the young
For the do's, I would say that always respect the advice of your elders, parents, those who have built the enterprise. And because अगर कभी-कभी जो उन्होंने इतने सालों में जो experience gain किया होता है, and they readily hand over that experience to you in a few minutes. But sometimes what happens, the youngsters, they don't want to listen. They think that the parents or the mentors are poking inside you. They are giving lectures. So please do give value to them. अगर एक kite ये सोचे कि ये जो door है, अगर ये ना होती तो मैं आसमान छू लेती. ये door मेरे को रोक रही है आसमान छूने से. Brakes लगा रही है मेरे ऊपर. पर एक्चुअली में अगर वो डोर कटती है तो क्या होता है? Kite falls down. It is caught by the children playing in the street. It gets tear off. So always value your mentors. And what you should not do is just don't in hurry start any enterprise. Do the proper research. Just don't go over the paperwork. Find out the actual resources. My father-in-law, he used to say कि अगर आप कोई काम खोलते हैं और 1 साल तक अगर कोई इनकम नहीं हो पाती है, फिर भी आपको लगता है कि आप सस्टेन कर पाएंगे, आप अपने सारे खर्चे निकाल पाएंगे, तभी काम शुरू करना. क्योंकि जल्दी से कुछ भी इनकम नहीं होती और इतनी देर में तो हम 1 महीने बाद नया शुरू करने का सोच लेते हैं. आजकल के यूथ में I would like to follow the consistency. This you must do. Thank you.
Do would be, be passionate about anything that you do, be it your entrepreneurship journey or be it your work. But if you're passionate about what you're doing, the challenges will come and go. But if you're passionate about it, you will find a solution and you will be there to solve it. So you have to be passionate about anything that you do. So if you find that passion, pursue it for the career. And the don't would be, like I earlier said, is to be get out of that comfort zone, because if you stay in that net, you would not know the world outside. You have to get out of that comfort zone. You have to look at the world outside, and then so basically don't be still. You have to keep moving, keep progressing.
Thank you.